The man was just one step away from claiming the position of world's richest person, yet under the name of hero of benevolence, he was unilaterally and forcibly summoned to another world. And ironically, the one who summoned him was a holy saintess, who couldn't even afford to eat sleeping beside pig pens every day, using cattle sheds to block the wind, only managing to gnaw on a coarse bran bun once every 5 days. Yet this person dared to try to control his life. No contract, no compensation, not even able to guarantee him basic food and shelter. In this moment, the man finally realized how absurd this situation was, and he, born a predator by nature, never makes a losing deal. The poor, kind-hearted, and adorably naive holy saintess, the timid and shy rock rabbit demi-human, the seductive and mysterious proprietress, as well as Dragon Clan maidens, all will work for me. This is the story of me, the great hero, aspiring to become the richest person in the otherworld. Oh wait, I mean the story of me aspiring to save the otherworld, while coincidentally becoming the richest. Looking out at the roaring sea, multiple ancient steel titans stand towering and majestic. These are epic-level creatures capable of burying 5 S-rank mercenary groups. Those around me each harbor their own fears, some wary of their terrifying combat records, some worried about their formidable immunity traits, and others bluntly admitting they only came reluctantly for the 100,000 gold reward. Even the naive holy saintess gazes at the giant shadows and murmurs in amazement. I speak in a low voice to calm everyone, telling them not to panic. With a flick of my finger, I deploy massive magic circles across the sky. The witch is shocked, speculating that I've mastered calamity-level magic. In a burst of golden light, hundreds of millions of gold coins pour down, falling into the corrosive solution yet remaining completely unharmed. The originally ferocious steel titans instantly halt their attacks, staring at the gold with fanatical eyes. The naive holy saintess explains, "In the Ancient Kingdom Chronicles I purchased for 5,000 gold coins last month, it's recorded, these titans have an extreme possessive desire for gold elements, and the massive amount of gold coins before us is merely 1% of my wealth. What's even more jaw-dropping is, the Demon Annihilator 13 sacred arcane hunting rifles I carry with me, the Conqueror's gauntlets of the war god Sithal, and other legendary equipment cost and purchase prices easily reach hundreds of billions. It's at this moment that I truly realize, having money really can do anything." Flashing back 2 years earlier. At that time, the naive holy saintess had been traveling for 7 years, finally arriving at the summoning site recorded in the book of the holy saintess of benevolence. She wipes away the dusty mud from her cheeks, takes a deep breath to steady herself, then rummages through her bag to retrieve the golden horn fragment of the angel of compassion that took a year to find, the dried tears of a dying dragon obtained after 2 years of searching, and the complete skull of a selfless sacrifice that took 3 years to locate. She arranges the 3 items in a triangular formation on the water's surface, devoutly calling for the hero of benevolence to descend. At that very moment, I'm in the CEO office at G Group headquarters. A female employee finishes reporting her work, congratulating me on rising to second on the global wealth list. Then she suddenly leans in close, suggesting in an ambiguous tone that I relax. Faced with this female employee's inappropriate invitation, without even lifting my gaze, I flatly refuse. Then I throw back her incomplete proposal, warning her sternly that I'm paying her a 3 million annual salary, not to serve as a spa technician, ordering her to work overtime tonight to complete this task. In my eyes, everything in this world can be priced, and money is the most powerful force, and I must become the person with the most power. Just as I'm contemplating how to climb to the position of world's richest, I'm suddenly summoned to another world, stark naked. The strangers surrounding me are all shocked. Only the naive holy saintess ecstatically calls me Lord Hero of Benevolence, repeatedly muttering that she's finally succeeded in the summoning. I immediately grab her and pin her against the wall, demanding sternly to know her identity and where I am. After all, I earn 300,000 per second. Time is money to me, so I only give her 5 seconds to answer. The naive holy saintess hands me clothing and hurriedly explains, "The Lord of the End Times is about to awaken, and only 5 heroes from another world can save the world. As a holy saintess of the Destiny Order, she's specifically responsible for summoning me, the hero of benevolence." Listening to this absurd world-saving narrative, without a second thought, I decisively refuse. But the naive holy saintess's eyes turn red with urgency, saying the summoning ritual is one way and irreversible. I can now never return to my original world. This sudden revelation leaves me momentarily stunned. Just as I'm sinking into despair, a strong hunger suddenly strikes from my stomach. The naive holy saintess immediately pulls out a hard coarse bran bun from her tattered bag, carefully handing it to me, gently comforting me to never give up hope. Her appearance and words remind me of my own sister. Having built everything from scratch, it's been too long since I've encountered any real setbacks. I prepare to eat while listening to her detailed explanation about this world and the heroes, only to discover this bun is completely impossible to bite into. Her face flushes red as she hastily explains that coarse bran buns stored for days are naturally hard to chew. I can't help but ask if she has any other food. She shakes her head, saying if you lick it soft first, then eating it is fine, quietly admitting this is the last food she forced herself not to eat for 5 days. I can't help but complain. She actually held out for 5 days on a single broken bun. Could she really be so poor that she can't even afford to eat? The naive holy saintess nods matter-of-factly, saying yes. In my shock, I demand why the Destiny Order doesn't pay her. She says the Destiny Order has the sacred mission of saving the world. Why should they pay? This operation makes me exclaim in amazement. This world actually has such severe workplace gaslighting. I immediately step forward, saying this is an absurdly stingy, terrible client, but thinking it over, if this world is truly destroyed, as a visitor from another world, I naturally couldn't escape disaster either. Just at this moment, the naive holy saintess suddenly takes out the benevolent king's sword, the exclusive sacred weapon of the hero of benevolence, from her bag, looking expectantly at me, urging me to hold it and feel it. Initially, I scoff at this, but looking closely, dark golden runes flow across the black blade like golden dragons soaring through dark clouds. The unique design without pointer edge paired with an ancient, elegant form. Truly a treasure among treasures. I'm immediately struck with admiration, quickly asking about the sword's ownership. The naive holy saintess smiles and nods, saying naturally it's mine, as she muses that boys really can't resist the charm of swords. I've already conceived a grand business idea. The next second, I unhesitatingly grab her hand and head straight for the pawn shop. Upon entering, I walk directly to the counter and heavily place the benevolent king's sword on the desk, asking the old man behind the counter to take a good look at how much this sword is worth. The naive holy saintess beside me turns pale and suddenly cries out, frantically hugging my arm, saying no, we can't. I calmly inform her that since she's acknowledged the sword belongs to me, I have the right to decide its use. The naive holy saintess's eyes turn red with urgency, exclaiming repeatedly that we still can't sell it. I tell her money is far more practical than an unrecognized legendary weapon. The naive holy saintess anxiously explains the sword's 1,000-year history and extraordinary precious value. But before she can finish, I immediately turn to look at the old man behind the counter, emphasizing that this is a legendary treasure sword with thousands of years of history, instructing him to carefully appraise it. The old man agrees on the surface, but harbors ulterior motives in his heart. He both recognizes the sword's excellent quality and secretly speculates based on our shabby appearance, wanting to take advantage and lower the price, only willing to offer 200 gold crocodiles to purchase it. I'm too lazy to deal with such a dishonest merchant, immediately pulling the naive holy saintess to leave. I count down 3 seconds in my mind, and a desperate voice calling us back comes from behind. This tactic of turning to leave has always been the most effective means of creating negotiation space. The old man comes forward with tea to apologize, admitting the previous quote might have deviated from my expectations, wanting to sit down and discuss slowly. The naive holy saintess looks at the food on the table, asking hesitantly if it's free to eat. The old man immediately nods, telling her not to be shy, then turns to ask my name. I state directly that I don't want to waste time with unprofessional people. Either have the manager come negotiate, or I'll leave immediately. The old man looks troubled, hesitates for a moment, then finally gestures for us to wait, while he goes to notify the manager. I think to myself that requesting a higher decision maker creates psychological price advantage and expands negotiation space. Seeing the naive holy saintess staring at the full table of food but not moving, I can't help but urge her to eat. Turns out she's been hungry for 5 days but insists on letting me have the food, only planning to eat one simple item to fill her stomach. I instantly see through her concerns, saying she must feel these foods were obtained by selling the benevolent king's sword, and as a holy saintess, eating them would make her feel guilty. The naive holy saintess's eyes turned slightly red, her voice choked with emotion, asking if I really must sell the sword. I patiently explained to her that while current actions seem to only value money, as a hero, I need to flexibly make plans based on actual circumstances, not rigidly follow the holy book regulations. Hearing my words, the naive holy saintess hesitates to speak, her eyes full of conflict. I strike while the iron is hot, solemnly promising that selling the sword now is just a temporary measure, and I'll definitely redeem the benevolent king's sword later. Also frankly stating I can't continue alone. I need her trust and companionship. I ask if she's willing to overcome difficulties with me together. The naive holy saintess gives an affirmative answer without hesitation. I immediately instruct her to cooperate with me in a little act when the manager arrives. Actually, I've already calculated the subsequent negotiation strategy in my mind, even joking that the manager is most likely an old man, stating I'm best at negotiating prices with such old timers. Not long after, the door is pushed open again. The figure that appears takes me completely by surprise. It's actually a delicate and cute bunny girl. I immediately spit out the tea I just drank, finding it hard to believe this adorable rock rabbit demi-human would be the pawn shop manager rather than a greeting bunny girl. The naive holy saintess is overjoyed upon seeing her, directly pouncing to rub her ears. The cute bunny's cheeks flush red from being rubbed, making soft whimpering sounds, not knowing how to resist. I quickly speak up to stop her, complaining that her behavior is too rough. When dealing with people, one should be more polite, at least get permission first. Then I turn around and elegantly bow to the cute bunny, smiling and asking if I could also rub her ears. After a few jokes, I quickly compose myself and return to business. I use the alias Gordon G. Paywood for my self-introduction, falsely claiming to be the son of a noble from a distant land. My father was rich but unkind during his life, indulging in luxury and pleasure daily, ultimately dying from excess. After inheriting the Lord's position, I too once fell deeply into a decadent life. Fortunately, the naive holy saintess of the Destiny Order passed by and enlightened me, making me realize money is merely a worldly possession. For 5 years I've abandoned my family and possessions, traveling everywhere in ascetic practice, distributing all my wealth to help the poor along the way. This narrative indeed moves everyone present. The previous old man can't help but ask if I'm selling the sword to continue helping the poor. I immediately go with the flow and nod in confirmation. The manager bunny is deeply touched after hearing this, full of admiration, repeatedly calling me great. I strike while the iron is hot, respectfully presenting the benevolent king's sword with both hands. The cute bunny takes the sword, stating solemnly she'll carefully appraise it. Then holding the benevolent king's sword, she first brings it close to her nose to smell. Her long bunny ears tremble slightly. Then she lightly bites the blade with her teeth. Her ears subsequently move rapidly. In my mind, I've already preset a minimum psychological price of 1,000 gold crocodiles. Unexpectedly, after the cute bunny finishes appraising, she directly offers a high price of 5,000 gold crocodiles. I quickly calculate in my mind, I've already roughly investigated the town's prices, and 5,000 gold crocodiles is enough to guarantee my food and shelter for 2 lifetimes. But before I can think it through, the old man beside casually reveals their hand, admitting the pawn shop vault only has slightly over 5,300 gold crocodiles left. Since the other party easily revealed their inventory, I naturally won't miss this opportunity to raise the price. I feign disappointment, saying I originally thought the cute bunny could understand my benevolent heart and give a fair appraisal, but it didn't turn out as I hoped. I continue, saying this sword, aside from the rare metal itself, contains powerful mysterious force within. This power alone should be worth 20,000 gold crocodiles. The naive holy saintess is so shocked by this number she can't speak. The old man beside is even more furious, accusing me of outrageous pricing and wanting to throw me out. Unexpectedly, the cute bunny suddenly speaks up to stop him, decisively agreeing to this, quote, immediately taking out a pawn receipt for 20,000 gold crocodiles, promising to gather the full amount within 10 days. I'm clear in my mind that this pawn shop must have powerful backing, and pressing too hard might cause unnecessary trouble. Moreover, this is the only pawn shop within thousands of miles. Taking what's good and consolidating current negotiation results is the best strategy. So I say gently to the cute bunny, grateful for the manager's benevolent heart, but charitable giving is the original intention, not seeking excessive profit. 5,000 gold crocodiles is already enough. Taking more would be meaningless. The cute bunny immediately calls for the old man to bring 5,000 5,000 gold crocodiles in cash and hand it to me. I lead the naive holy saintess away, leaving only the words charity and good deeds can't wait, both echoing the previous fabricated lies, and successfully completing this perfect negotiation. I bring the naive holy saintess to the town's supposedly highest class Blue Palace Inn. The naive holy saintess clutches her clothes nervously, murmuring softly that this place looks too expensive. But I'm full of dissatisfaction. Such a large inn doesn't even have greeting staff. This weak service awareness really doesn't deserve the title high class. My complaint just falls when a seductive yet cold voice comes from behind. The sexy proprietress states directly that Blue Palace is the most luxurious inn for thousands of miles. They only serve nobles, immediately ordering to throw us two commoners out. I laugh coldly, saying I originally wanted to enter the shop in a low-key manner as an ordinary person, but in return received baseless contempt and scorn. Since that's the case, I won't pretend anymore. Just as I finish declaring my noble status with flair, the door is suddenly pushed open forcefully from outside. A group of people wearing brocade uniforms rush in hurriedly, surrounding me and the naive holy saintess in the middle. I signal the naive holy saintess to change clothes, but she panics, thinking I'm going to undress her. I quickly explain this is a necessary step for saving the world, telling her to cooperate with confidence. The sexy proprietress and several attendants beside watch in confusion, not knowing what we're up to. An hour later, the naive holy saintess and I finish changing, both instantly transformed with new appearances. The sexy proprietress is shocked speechless, her eyes full of disbelief. She recognizes at a glance this is Jinhua Pavilion's exclusive door-to-door custom clothing service, and knows Jinhua Pavilion has always only served nobles. A single garment costs over 100 gold crocodiles, and such luxurious custom-made pieces are worth thousands. Besides the mysterious lord in town, she can't think of anyone else who could afford this. Next, I casually throw out 2,500 gold crocodiles for clothing expenses, adding an extra 3 gold crocodiles as a tip. The clothing store clerk is immediately flattered, respectfully stating they can come to adjust any time, then bows and retreats. The sexy proprietress's attitude immediately does a complete 180-degree turn, apologizing profusely, afraid I'll hold a grudge about the earlier offense. I'm too lazy to listen to her meaningless flattery, directly requesting the best rooms and food. She immediately agrees, eagerly wanting to lead us to view the rooms. I turn back to call the still dazed, naive holy saintess. She's currently muttering to herself about the new clothes, repeatedly amazed that 2 outfits cost 2,500 gold crocodiles. After arriving at the room, the naive holy saintess immediately stares at the large bed in amazement upon entering, then can't wait to throw herself onto the bed, exclaiming it's so soft, like lying on clouds. I think to myself that this softness is far inferior to spring mattresses in my original world. I casually ask about her previous lodging situation while traveling, only to learn that when she's lucky, she can sleep in pig pens or cattle sheds. When unlucky, she can only sleep outdoors on the streets. Even so, she can still smile, talking about the benefit of being able to see the stars from the roadside. Listening to her words, I can't help but think of my sister, remembering how she stubbornly refused to wear my clothes back then, insisting she wasn't cold. Remembering I once promised to earn lots of money and build her a big villa, and promised to sleep with her every night. Suddenly, the naive holy saintess sits up from the bed, saying although I'm completely different from the hero of benevolence in her imagination, she firmly believes I'm a benevolent person. I laugh scornfully. Benevolence. Worthless in my eyes. Whether protecting those I care about or saving this world, the most effective means has always been just one thing: money. At dinner, a full table of delicacies is served, but the naive holy saintess stares at the food with a worried frown, concerned we'll spend all the money from selling the benevolent king's sword with such extravagance. Seeing the drool about to drip from the corner of her mouth, I helplessly remind her she'll be dehydrated if it keeps flowing, then explain that all this is within the plan, telling her to enjoy with peace of mind. Both the pawnshop and inn managers subtly mention that lord. This person is precisely the stepping stone in my plan. Being so mysterious, he must be the lord controlling the town, completely inaccessible to commoners. Therefore, I must create a noble identity to break into noble circles and access high-profit business opportunities. After all, in this remote place, announcing one's background is too foolish. Only doing something big to make that lord actively seek me out is the best strategy. I instruct the naive holy saintess to rest early. Tomorrow we'll tour the town's surroundings together and examine the town's economic structure in detail. Looking up, I see her pat her belly. The entire table of dishes has already been swept clean. Moonbone Castle. The count holds a silver dining knife, methodically cutting the beef on his plate. The mayor trembles like chaff, his body cowering to the side. Silence spreads through the oppressive hall for a long time. The count finally stops his movements, using a silver fork to pick up a piece of cut beef and offer it toward the mayor. The mayor replies tremulously that the townspeople have long been squeezed dry. There's really no way to collect more money. The count ignores his excuses, laughing coldly, asking if he expects him to keep holding this meat forever. The mayor stiffens in fright, forced to take the meat with both hands and eat it. The count then praises that this is Moon Mirror Lakewater buffalo meat, raised for 30 years, incredibly tender. He changes the subject, mentioning the mayor's promise when taking office to collect 2,000 gold crocodiles monthly for him. Then the count gestures for the mayor to stand and sit. With a clap of his hands, several maids bring several plates of beef. The mayor stares bewildered at the mountain of meat before him. The next second, the count says in a flat tone to please eat it all, also stating directly he most detests people who break their word. As he speaks, he presses a mechanism by the seat, and 2 iron clamps instantly lock the mayor's ankles. The count throws out cruel conditions: eat all the meat within 15 minutes and he'll spare his life. Gears turn with a harsh clicking sound. The mayor looks down to see a huge pool beneath the seat. A group of thorn armor swamp crocodiles swim back and forth in the water, and his seat is slowly descending. The crocodiles sense sense prey and emit fierce hissing sounds. The mayor is scared witless, grabbing beef and frantically stuffing it in his mouth. Murky pool water seeps up through the seat cracks, gradually covering his ankles. He swallows greedily while crying and begging the Count for mercy, but the Count wears a cold smile on his face, unmoved, lamenting that one can't even collect taxes, while another spent 5,000 gold crocodiles in one go. The Count's gaze slowly sweeps over the trembling cute bunny in handcuffs beside him. The cute bunny has already wet her pants in fear. She urgently explains that the benevolent king's sword contains enormous magical source. Its value far exceeds monetary measure. The Count looks down, playing with the benevolent king's sword in his hand, instead becoming interested in the kind noble from a distant land, immediately ordering the shadow ghost beside him to investigate this person's true background right away. Then the Count bends down and pulls the cute bunny forward by her long ears, issuing a stern warning in a severe tone, also laughing coldly to expose the truth. Nobles are just bloodthirsty beasts in elegant clothing. Where is there truly any kindness? Meanwhile, I've already brought the naive holy saintess back to the room. I urge her to take off her dirty clothes. She backs away repeatedly in resistance, her face flushing bright red. I helplessly remind her this is what she just promised, to satisfy the hero's normal needs. But she misunderstands my intentions, clutching her clothes and refusing to comply. Watching her reeking with a sour smell, I really can't stand it anymore. I kick her into the bathtub with one foot, thinking irritably about her being covered in strange odors. The naive holy saintess panics just entering the bathtub, crying that she can't swim, afraid of cold, and afraid of snakes in the water. Saying past experiences bathing outdoors left her with psychological trauma, but moments later she's sighing comfortably. Watching her novel yet timid appearance, I can't help but think of when my little sister Zishi first moved into the villa I bought. A soft feeling rises in my heart. But this peace is short-lived. The naive holy saintess suddenly springs up from the water, screaming shrilly, crying that something hot and slippery brushed against her thigh. Completely soaked, she directly throws herself into my arms, repeatedly emphasizing there's a snake in the water. I want to comfort her that snakes can't live in hot water, but I also keenly sense there is indeed something foreign in the water. Just then the sexy proprietress pushes the door open, smiling and explaining that it's not a snake, but the unique hellfire slugs from Purgatory Ring Island. 5 can boil water, 1 maintains the most comfortable temperature, and they're non-aggressive and clean dirt, telling us to bathe with peace of mind. Looking at the leisurely swimming hellfire slugs in the tub, a business opportunity immediately springs to mind. Such peculiar creatures, if brought back to my original world, using them as a gimmick to open a specialty hot spring hotel, would definitely be popular and profitable. I pick up the naive holy saintess and throw her back into the bath, instructing her to wash properly before coming out, then turn around to go talk business with the sexy proprietress. The sexy proprietress smiles and greets me to sit, pouring me a drink. Shortly after sitting down, I notice the sexy proprietress across from me has a particular look in her eyes, clearly up to something. Sure enough, she suddenly leans slightly sideways with a coquettish little cry. The wine glass in her hand tilts accordingly. The wine is about to spill on herself. She's probably fantasizing about an ambiguous scene of wet clothing, thinking I'll lose composure, and something R-rated will happen. But unexpectedly, the next second I catch the wine glass steadily with quick reflexes. I speak flatly, after all, time is money. If clothes get wet, it wastes time changing. I want to understand this town situation as quickly as possible. The sexy proprietress's coquettish expression freezes for an instant, then she forces a natural smile, praising my agile moves. I think to myself that this accidental wine spilling routine, I've seen it countless times. In the past, 9 out of 10 women drinking alone with me would perform this act, and I was forced to develop such quick reactions. Seeing this, she restrains some of her deliberate coquettishness, her expression becoming slightly more serious. I get straight to the point, asking her to introduce this small town situation in detail. She explains eloquently that this town is called Crocodile Town, located at the southeastern edge of the Crocodile Bay Kingdom, surrounded by streams and swamps with fierce crocodiles everywhere. I understand in my mind why this country would use crocodiles as a national symbol. I follow up asking if there are other specialties besides crocodiles. The sexy proprietress then mentions swamp rice. Although Crocodile Bay Kingdom is on the periphery with sparse population, the moist plains within have vast tidelands suitable for growing swamp rice. Processed swamp rice grains are 3 times the size of regular rice. Slender, soft and glutinous, sweet and delicious. Truly top-grade rice. Only nobles can enjoy it. 1/5 of its annual production goes to the kingdom's royalty and nobles, while the remaining 4/5 are sold at high prices to nobility in other countries. I can't help but wonder what the common people eat daily. The sexy proprietress sighs lightly, saying commoners mostly eat cheap drought millet rice imported from neighboring countries, while most people in Crocodile Town can't even afford drought millet rice and can only survive on rice bran. A few words reveal the corruption and decay of this country and town. I change the subject, asking why she can open a luxury inn in such an impoverished town. She must have superior management skills. The sexy proprietress smiles and denies it, frankly stating her choice to open a shop here is actually because the town is adjacent to Purgatory Ring Island, which is the habitat of the hellfire slugs mentioned earlier. She informs me the truly magical thing on the island isn't the hellfire slugs, but the strongest known fire element creature on the entire continent, the molten feather dragon sparrow. These creatures inhabit lava lakes over 1,000 degrees at volcano craters, using powerful fire magic to continuously heat the Earth's veins, keeping the volcanoes on the ring island in a perpetual pre-eruption state, even making the surrounding waters scorching hot. Even more amazing, each of their feathers contains tremendous fire magical essence. A wand made from a single adult molten feather dragon sparrow feather can reportedly release 20 to 30,000 master-level fire spells. After hearing the sexy proprietress's introduction, I immediately understand the logic. Anyone wanting to obtain molten feather dragon sparrow feathers must first reach Crocodile Town, the closest to Purgatory Ring Island, and her Blue Palace is the only decent inn here, naturally becoming the only choice. The sexy proprietress smiles and adds that guests staying here actually fall into only 2 categories. One is the Royal Direct Mercenary Corps, funded by royalty and most generous with spending. The other is high-level adventurer teams, either sponsored by nobles or eager to enhance magical abilities, usually not short on money either. But she still underestimated the danger of molten feather dragon sparrows. Even for these 2 powerful groups, facing gregarious epic-level creatures results in and heavy casualties requiring long recovery periods, coming at most twice a year. Over time, Blue Palace's operations became unsustainable, now with over 100,000 gold crocodiles in debt. Continuing like this, it'll have to be mortgaged to that mysterious lord. As she finishes speaking, I follow up asking about that lord's identity. The sexy proprietress's expression changes slightly, only mentioning lightly that he's Count Moto, the king of Crocodile Bay Kingdom's uncle, and Crocodile Town is one of his territories. Then she wants to take leave, citing the late hour. I quickly call her back, but she turns around with a grave tone, giving advice. Try not to inquire about the count and avoid people in matters related to him, or you might die. I respectfully accept on the surface, but don't take it seriously in my heart. From South African blood diamonds of the late 20th century to the North American gold rush of the early 19th century, the more dangerous the environment, the more hidden opportunities for massive profits. Danger has always been money's companion. However, to be safe, I do need to prepare in advance. I return to the room, calling loudly for the naive holy saintess, but there's no response. Pushing the door open, I see she's passed out from soaking in the bath too long because it was too comfortable. I quickly pull her out of the tub and hand her water. After gulping down several mouthfuls, she immediately revives with full energy and cheers. Seeing she's recovered, I urgently ask what abilities I have as the hero of benevolence. She gets so excited she almost jumps up, as if I finally come to my senses. Then she enthusiastically explains that it's all recorded in the Destiny Order's original teachings. When the world faces extinction crisis, 5 great heroes, benevolence, righteousness, propriety, wisdom, and trust, are summoned from another world, each with a dedicated holy saintess. The holy saintess book, sacred weapons, and unique ability systems. As long as one completes training according to the holy saintess book, abilities will continuously awaken, until finally the 5 heroes meet and join hands to save the world. I patiently listen to the end, can't help but interrupt and ask about my specific abilities. But she stammers, admitting she doesn't know either. I immediately explode in anger, complaining that as a holy saintess she doesn't even know the hero's abilities. The naive holy saintess defends herself aggrievedly, saying chapter 1 of the book of the holy saintess of benevolence only says, save 100 people in suffering, and after completion you can gain recognition from the benevolent king's sword. As for what abilities unlock after recognition, the book doesn't record. I grab the book, saying just flip to the back pages to see. But she tells me brute force can't open it at all. The holy saintess book is sealed by divine power and can only be unlocked chapter by chapter in order after completing training. I think to myself I must quickly redeem the benevolent king's sword, but this quest to selflessly save 100 people in suffering is really too stupid. I'm a capitalist. The personified instinct of capital is to continuously increase value by feeding on surplus value, which nerve in the Destiny Order short-circuited to judge me as the hero of benevolence. The naive, holy saintess sees my displeased expression and quickly comforts me, saying even if I don't follow the book of the holy saintess of benevolence and can't awaken the hero of benevolence's abilities, as a holy saintess she also possesses healing arts and contract arts, and will definitely protect me well. I moved in my heart, immediately asking if her contract arts can be used between people and items, and if items can be summoned anytime, anywhere after contracting. She gives an affirmative answer, also explaining that contracted items will be stored in the hero's unique sea of consciousness, a mental space connected to consciousness where stored items can be retrieved at will. I immediately follow up, asking about the sea of consciousness's capacity, learning that legendary sacred weapons occupy all space, while gold coins without magical power can store hundreds of millions. Immediately excited, I tell her to contract me with the money right away. The naive holy saintess looks completely confused, complaining that sea of consciousness space is precious, using it to store money is too wasteful. I patiently explain this money is the startup capital for saving the world. More importantly, it's key to redeeming the benevolent king's sword, must be stored in an absolutely safe place. The naive holy saintess suddenly understands, quickly walks to the table and picks up a small knife, turns around and hands it to me. I'm stunned, quickly asking what she's planning to do. She slowly explains the contract ceremony requires the contractor's blood smeared on the contract object, otherwise it can't be bound. As she speaks, she bends down to lift the heavy thousands of gold coins, urging me to hurry up, actually wanting me to smear blood on every single coin. If I really smeared every one, wouldn't I bleed to death? I quickly confirm if her healing arts are reliable. The naive holy saintess pats her chest, guaranteeing they're reliable. But then she honestly says healing arts can only heal wounds, not create blood. So if there's too much blood loss, she's powerless too. I frown, asking if this world has blood recovery potions or similar things. The naive holy saintess nods yes, but helplessly states blood recovery potions are expensive, and this remote town can't buy them at all. I'm momentarily speechless, staring at the pile of gold coins, repeatedly pondering her words need to smear contract object with blood. Suddenly inspiration strikes. I think of an efficient contracting method. First find a wooden basin that can hold all the gold coins and fill it with clean water. Then pour all the gold coins in. Finally cut my palm and let blood drip in. Let the blood naturally diffuse in water, reaching every gold coin. I'm secretly proud of this brilliant idea, urging the naive holy saintess to prepare healing arts. But after calling for ages, she collapses. Seeing this, I casually grab a tablecloth to hastily wrap my palm, then quickly step forward to check her condition, only to see the naive holy saintess's face turned blue-green, showing signs of suffocating unconsciousness. I quickly press her philtrum. Also try patting her face, still no response. I'm instantly furious, can't help complaining this naive holy saintess is about to personally kill her own hero. There's no other way now. I can only bend down and give her artificial respiration. Moments later, the naive holy saintess slowly awakens, muttering drowsily, lips are so hot. After opening her eyes, she's even more shocked. I have no mind to deal with her bewilderment, urgently urging her to quickly stop my bleeding. The naive holy saintess pushes me away instead, stating directly that Destiny Order doctrine forbids holy saintesses from engaging in such intimate acts with heroes. Both angry and anxious, I quickly explain this was only to save her and wake her up to stop my bleeding. If I waited for her to wake naturally, I'd have already bled out and become a corpse. She stares blankly at my bleeding palm, then quickly raises her hand to gather gentle light elements and cast healing arts. The wound on my palm instantly heals. I can't help but marvel in my heart. This instant healing magic, if brought back to the original world, would definitely make a fortune in the medical field, though even in this world, if people with such magic are scarce, they could still make a killing. With the wound healed, I urge the naive holy saintess to immediately perform contract arts between me and the gold coins. She says with full fighting spirit to leave it to her, then closes her eyes and solemnly recites the contract incantation. In the chanting, the holy saintess's aura, the metallic texture of the gold coins, gradually connect with my consciousness. Over and over, the word I in the incantation continuously echoes. Each mention seems to anchor the contract's core. Just as she loudly declares the contract complete, my soul feels completely filled with pure monetary energy. My fingertips can even truly feel the texture and weight of every gold coin. Recalling in the original world, assets worth hundreds of billions were merely strings of ethereal data. But at this moment, these heavy gold coins are like my body's flesh and blood, truly becoming one with me. I silently revise my previous assessment of this world. This place is simply tailor-made for me. The next morning, I gently push open the bedroom door, calling out softly several times. But the naive holy saintess sleeps like a pig with no response. Prepared in advance, I take out a croissant and wave it near her mouth. She instinctively sniffs at it, then suddenly opens her mouth and bites, even taking my fingers holding the bread into her mouth. Hearing my startled cry, the naive holy saintess finally wakes, asking about today's schedule while munching the croissant. Even her bad eating habits are exactly like my sister's. I wipe my fingers and explain that the sexy proprietress specifically warned last night that the town outskirts aren't safe, so today we're going to the market to purchase self-defense items and emergency medicine. Hearing this, she immediately praises the sexy proprietress as a good person, but I disagree. In this remote place, the probability of someone running a luxury inn being a good person is truly slim. Then we arrive at the town's largest potion shop. Entering the pharmacy, I directly ask the owner if he has blood recovery potions. The owner immediately responds enthusiastically, saying he just imported a batch of excellent blood recovery potions from Secret Flow City yesterday. But calculation hides in his eyes, clearly wanting to take advantage and make a big profit. He turns to take down 3 bottles from the shelf, introducing the 3-bottle set for 5 gold crocodiles. I calculate silently that this price really isn't expensive. He pats his chest, boasting that this blood recovery potion is essential for home travel and adventure. There's no substitute, also saying I'm the first customer today, so he'll give extra discount. About to turn and get the goods, I call out to stop him, speaking flatly that if it's truly top-grade blood recovery potion, the price isn't expensive. But the premise is truly top-grade, and his potion clearly isn't. The owner looks completely confused. I take out a small glass bottle from my chest, then pick up his sample bottle on the table, pouring all the liquid from my bottle into his potion, then slowly explain. Blood recovery potions are complex to make and easily deteriorate during storage and transport. Quality greatly compromised. Quality can be distinguished by color, the brighter red the better, otherwise it's dull. To cover up the potion's inferiority, he deliberately uses exquisite blood red crystal bottles to make the potion look bright in color. Additionally, blood recovery potions have about a 1-year shelf life. After expiration, efficacy greatly decreases, emits a strong bloody smell, so he places incense burners at the counter to mask the odor. In summary, he's merely selling expired, inferior blood recovery potions with efficacy probably not even 1/10 of regular potions. I coldly rebuke that actually running a physical store and daring to commit fraud so openly is truly audacious. After hearing my words, the owner looks shocked, wondering how a nobleman like me knows so much about blood recovery potions. I laugh coldly in my heart. Before coming, I'd already done thorough consultation with the naive holy saintess and sexy proprietress. Complete product research is a basic requirement of commercial trade. His inferior tricks can deceive customers with royal backgrounds or famous adventurer teams, but can't fool me. The owner, seeing his scheme exposed, can only confess the truth. The reason he dared to do this is wanting to make a big profit during feather hunting season, then run away with the money, speaking as he kneels begging for mercy, admitting he hasn't collected enough tax money for 2 months. Continuing like this, his life will be at risk, begging me to let him go. I remain unmoved, throwing out conditions. If he can produce genuine goods that satisfy me, 30 gold crocodiles are his. If not, his life belongs to me. The owner is scared into repeatedly agreeing, hurrying to get the goods. Returning, he guarantees repeatedly that these are genuine top-grade products, asking me to verify as I please. I wave my hand telling him to pack them directly, but he hesitates, saying these medicines are worth 120 gold crocodiles. 30 gold crocodiles would be a loss. I inform him flatly that I always buy with 10 times compensation for fakes. 30 gold crocodiles is slightly above cost price. He won't lose, and deliberately mention perhaps having little moto the count pay instead. The owner, hearing I can call the count so intimately, is immediately scared witless. He quickly waves his hands, crying for me to take all the medicine, never to trouble the count. I smoothly confiscate all inferior potions to prevent him from harming others again. The naive holy saintess praises me for thinking of others, instructing the shopkeeper not to cheat anymore. Leaving the pharmacy, I bring the naive holy saintess to weapon and equipment shops to sweep goods, getting the best items at the lowest prices. The naive holy saintess is full of confusion, not understanding why I only need a few words to make shopkeepers sell goods at low prices, even more surprised that I'm not only unhappy but have red-rimmed eyes. I sigh lightly, admitting it's been a long time since I've encountered such primitive and simple marketing methods. Even their self-proclaimed clever little schemes seem clumsy and cute to me. The naive holy saintess is completely at a loss, really not understanding why this is worth tears. But I think to myself, when both parties' strengths aren't on the same plane, even winning from an absolute crushing position won't bring true happiness. Instead, I'll feel sad for the opponent's pitiful weakness. Perhaps this is the loneliness of gods. At the same time, I increasingly clearly realize how brutally this small town has been exploited by the Count. Just walking along, the naive holy saintess suddenly points ahead, saying something big seems to have happened there. We quickly step forward, only to see several tax soldiers grabbing a child and pressing him to the ground. The tax soldier leader sternly rebukes him for daring to buy private grain, tired of living. The child struggles to argue, saying official grain at 60 copper crocodiles can't even buy half a pound of swamp rice. They simply can't afford it. The tax soldier looks completely disdainful, stating directly that poor people who can't afford official grain should starve to death. Buying private grain must be severely punished, even kids are no exception. To make an example, the naive holy saintess immediately burns with anger, clenching her fists about to rush up and beat these guys bullying children. I quickly grab grab her, lowering my voice to warn. The situation here is unclear. Rashly conflicting with local soldiers will only put us in a passive position and actually won't save anyone. She looks extremely unwilling, eyes reddening as she demands how I, as the hero of benevolence, can watch a child have both hands chopped off. I signal her to be quiet, explaining I'm not refusing to save. The urgent matter is to rush back to Blue Palace and borrow some things from the sexy proprietress before rescuing. Moments later, the injured child is escorted by tax soldiers to a high platform in the town center. The tax soldier leader puts his hands on his hips, loudly calling for execution, just as the tax soldier is about to swing his blade. A cry of "wait" cuts through the air. The tax soldier curses and turns, wanting to angrily rebuke which troublemaker dares obstruct execution, but sees a luxurious carriage inlaid with gold and silver racing toward them. The accompanying guards are tall and mighty with solemn expressions, the procession both luxurious and imposing. After the carriage steadily stops, I emerge with the naive holy saintess's respectful support. His expression stiffens, demanding who we are to dare obstruct execution. I find him noisy, too lazy to waste words with him, having the naive holy saintess relay the message. The naive holy saintess informs him I'm Baron Gordon, master of Heavenly Reach City, and have taken a liking to this child, wanting to bring him back as a servant. That child has a stubborn character, preferring to have his hands chopped off rather than become a noble servant. I raise my hand and slap him, then take out a white handkerchief to wipe my hand. I coldly announce that what I take a fancy to, no one has the right to refuse, much less the object itself. The tax soldier leader sees my carriage, attire and behavior style, knowing I'm a formidable noble, and thinking many nobles have special hobbies, decides to do a favor. He kneels on one knee, saying he's willing to fulfill my wish, then turns and pulls the child's hair, mocking that falling into a perverted noble's hands, he'll only wish for death but be unable to die. Also using his foot to step on the child's head, forcing him to thank me. My face darkens. I step forward and heavily slap the tax soldier leader. Everyone is instantly stunned. Even that child freezes in place. I turn to stare at the tax soldier leader, sternly demanding if he's forgotten this child is now my property. Then I reach out to embrace the naive holy saintess to assert ownership, pointing out he just stared at my woman with dirty eyes. I quietly tell the naive holy saintess to cooperate. The naive holy saintess intimately wraps around my arm, pressing tightly against me. I then ask the tax soldier how many glances he took, demanding he slap himself. The tax soldier hastily argues it was only one glance, but I turn to the onlooking citizens asking what they saw. The citizens have long held grudges against tax soldiers, shouting in unison, 5 glances, 8 glances, even exaggerating to 100 glances. The tax soldier leader panics, bringing up the count's name to pressure me, claiming he's the count's man. I laugh scornfully, stating directly that if the count knew his subordinates were so lacking in etiquette, he'd already be a corpse. Moreover, I never personally take action. Saying this, I retrieve gold coins from the sea of consciousness and scatter them toward the crowd, announcing 1 slap equals 1 silver crocodile. Whoever wants money can come forward. The crowd instantly boils over, swarming forward, punching and kicking the tax soldier leader, his screams rising and falling. I think to myself that the principle of law doesn't punish the masses couldn't be more useful at this moment, both making these tax soldiers suffer while conveniently venting the people's anger and drawing the count's attention. If he's a qualified villain, this show I've directed has surely been witnessed by his people. Returning to Blue Palace Inn, after bringing the child back to my room, I get straight to the point, telling her I saved her. Now her life belongs to me. But she's full of wariness, angrily rebuking that I'm just another scum noble who treats lives as toys. She'd rather die than be my slave. I can't help but tease that her life was bought with Oscar-level acting and 99 silver crocodiles. Killing her would really be a loss. What I want is her body and soul completely. I step forward, reaching my hand toward her. The child becomes even more frightened. Seeing her terrified expression, I directly reveal the answer. I want to hire her as my employee. Will pay her on time, guarantee her food and clothing. Also solemnly announcing I've decided to rebuild G Group in the other world, and she'll be my first employee. I'm secretly grateful that the other world has no employment age restrictions. Truly an excellent entrepreneurial environment. After that, I point out her disguise as a boy, instructing the naive holy saintess to take her to bathe. The naive holy saintess immediately carries her off in a flash. That child, being carried, asks what employee means while questioning how I saw through her disguise as a girl. I watch their retreating figures, suddenly wondering, why did I naturally exclude the naive holy saintess when mentioning the first employee? She's so hardworking, clearly every boss's dream employee, yet I've never considered her as an employee. Soon after, the naive holy saintess returns with the clean little girl. I notice her cheeks are still slightly flushed, casually asking if her face still hurts. She softly responds it doesn't hurt anymore, saying the naive holy saintess just helped with a hot compress. While speaking, she timidly gives her name. I smile, saying she might as well be called stubborn little girl. Seeing her eyes unconsciously glance at the desserts on the table, I hand over a piece, saying to fill her stomach first. The naive holy saintess drools with envy beside us. Then the stubborn little girl picks up a fork. After eating a small bite of cake, tears suddenly fall. I think the cake doesn't suit her taste, but she quickly denies it, saying the cake is delicious. Just that she doesn't deserve to enjoy such delicacy, it will spoil her mouth, and Grandpa warned her not to accept others' charity. I smile, correcting her misunderstanding, explaining this cake isn't free but an advance payment. As long as she honestly answers some questions about the count, she can earn another 1 silver crocodile. Mentioning the count, the stubborn little girl's eyes instantly ignite with fury, stating directly she knows that scoundrel all too well. Let me ask away. I immediately take out paper and pen to write furiously, soon throwing out the 389th question, what are the count's sexual preferences? The stubborn little girl freezes in place, clearly not understanding what sexual preferences means. The naive holy saintess, seeing this, quickly suggests asking tomorrow instead. I shake my head, admitting time is tight. I must understand the count as much as possible to deal with him perfectly. The naive holy saintess wants to say something but is interrupted. I pull out an invitation from my chest, saying this is the count's dinner invitation, delivered by the sexy proprietress when she brought tea. Checking the time, I pick up my coat and put it on, saying I'll be back soon. The naive holy saintess immediately grabs my sleeve, insisting on going with me, also worrying that from the stubborn little girl's description, the count is a complete villain, and I know neither martial skills nor magic even sold the sacred weapon. Without her protection, I might meet with disaster. So no matter what, she must come along. I reach out and pat her shoulder, saying I won't die so easily, need her to stay and help watch my first employee, telling the naive holy saintess to wait obediently for my return. As night falls, I'm about to board the carriage to Moonbone Castle. The sexy proprietress still tries to persuade me, warning me not to get involved with the Count, emphasizing he's extremely dangerous. I ask her back how she's so certain I'm not more dangerous than the Count. After all, imperceptible danger is most lethal. Watching the carriage carrying me gradually disappear into the distance, the sexy proprietress stands gazing at the horizon, her cheeks flush slightly red, thinking, oh no, I think I'm falling for him. As I sit inside the carriage, deeply attracted by this otherworld's unknown savagery, bloodshed, and hidden huge business opportunities, only feeling blood boiling throughout my body, full of anticipation for the coming confrontation. The carriage exits the town gates. Soon a guide in black clothes comes to lead the way. We follow a winding path through a grassland, finally arriving at a secluded riverside, then boarding a black awning boat. The small boat travels upstream along the river. All around is deathly silence, only corpse-pale moonlight sprinkling on the water surface. Looking from afar, Moonbone Castle resembles a massive sinister skeleton floating on the swamp, radiating heart-palpitating coldness. Upon arriving at the castle, a servant leads me to a room, indicating I should wait a moment. I think this is a good time to review all contingency plans in my mind, ensuring nothing goes wrong. Just then, a sudden dizziness strikes. I actually let my guard down and fell for scented incense. My consciousness gradually blurs, my body feeling warm with hints of soft, slippery coolness. This strange sensation is extraordinarily wonderful. When I open my eyes again, I'm already lying naked in a bath, surrounded by beautiful women pressing against me. The Count steps forward to introduce them as ice-fin mermaids from the Great Ice Sea. Their body fluids remain unfrozen below 0 degrees. Their skin insulates heat, so even in hot water they don't lower the temperature, and their ice-cold tongues can let one experience the ultimate sensation of ice and fire. I steady myself, my gaze falling on the figure not far away, silently thinking the performance has finally begun. The Count looks at me, throwing out 3 questions, demanding whether I'm a kind noble selling swords for charity, an extravagant wasteful noble, or a clever arrogant noble who disrupts executions and forcibly buys children. I rise and kneel on one knee before him, answering I'm just a fallen minor noble with some business ability, wanting to get his attention and help. Everything before was just performance to attract his attention, begging his forgiveness. Interest flashes in the Count's eyes, admitting I'm more interesting than he imagined, then asking what kind of help I want. Seeing he's taken the bait, I'm secretly pleased, continuing to perfect this carefully woven persona. I state directly I want a powerful army to help me kill my uncle. The Count looks surprised, telling me to first explain my family background and reasons for killing my uncle. I immediately fabricate a story prepared in advance, saying I'm Gordon G. Paywood, eldest son of Duke Heavenly Reach, master of Heavenly Reach City on Golden Island. My father was originally a maritime trade tycoon, but his fleet encountered a storm and all ships sank. After drifting at sea for 7 days and nights, father was washed up on an uninhabited island, already disheartened. He accidentally discovered the island covered in gold sand. A blessing in disguise, he used endless gold sand to make a comeback and built Heavenly Reach City. But good times didn't last. My uncle always coveted father's wealth, finally poisoning father with poisoned wine and seizing mother, and I could only flee like a stray dog to survive. I vow to reclaim everything that belongs to me, begging the Count to help. I calculate silently in my heart that this life story fabricated based on the classic tragedy of Hamlet, paired with my Oscar-level performance, plus the huge wealth temptation of Golden Island. Each element is enough to strike at the heart. Even if the Count is cunning and shrewd, his heart must already be stirring with waves. After a while, the Count gestures for me to rise. I think to myself he didn't even pursue story details, surprisingly simple-minded. But before I can stand steady, sudden pain in my chest. A dagger has already pierced through my heart. I endure the intense pain, roaring unwillingly in my heart. In the end, I still couldn't deceive him. The Count slowly wipes his hands, asking flatly if I know why I was stabbed. I cover my wound, struggling to request his explanation. The Count smiles and lists reasons one by one. First, he most detests others playing clever tricks before him. I asked for his help yet hid a sleeve dagger, harboring wariness and hostility. Second, regardless of past status, when asking for help, one should be tame as a dog. I'm full of doubt. I was summoned by the naive holy saintess. This world has no information about my identity. Could the Count determine I'm lying purely on intuition? Changing his tone, the Count admits that while he dislikes my way of attracting his attention, he's quite interested in the story I just told. I struggle to ask his meaning, thinking it over. Everything just now was merely intimidation. In the end, he couldn't resist the huge wealth temptation of Golden Island. At this moment, the Count offers me a drink, saying drinking it will stop the pain. I silently regret that my poison detection ring was already confiscated. Even if I still had it, in this situation there's no way to use it. Facing his test, I grit my teeth, declaring that from this moment, my life is entirely his. After all, you can't catch a wolf without sacrificing the child. This wine must be drunk. Then I down it in one gulp. The Count claps in approval. The moment the liquor enters my throat, intense burning sweeps over me. I can't help coughing. The Count laughingly explains this wine is called Fire Throat, brewed from burning shell meat from Purgatory Ring Island volcano crater and the spiciest deep red viper of Crocodile Bay Kingdom, a famous strong liquor across the continent. Initially drinking, the throat feels like burning fire, then pain gradually fades, the heart beats at 4 times speed, blood surges, the whole body burns hot, especially there. He changes the subject, mentioning ice-fin mermaids are extremely heat-seeking during mating season. After I drank Fire Throat, my body temperature soared. They'll crave madly to become one with me, and mermaid bodies are tight, their secreted lubricating mucus can also accelerate wound healing. He turns to leave, telling me to enjoy these three's company well, also saying after this I'll no longer be interested in human women. I curse silently, absolutely unwilling to casually have relations with mermaids like this. But my body completely won't listen. However, rotating the dagger to forcibly wake through pain would alert the Count. Only by exposing enough human weaknesses to make him feel I'm completely controlled can I gain subsequent business opportunities. The Count suddenly stops, laughingly adding these 3 mermaids are extremely clingy. Without satisfying them, I can't escape. Things have come to this, going all in. I directly pull out the dagger in my my chest and stop resisting. I can feel the heat in my body growing more intense, every cell burning. My brain also completely loses thinking ability, leaving only primitive instinct, using their bodies to cool down, possessing them at any cost. Fire throat paired with ice fin mermaids. Truly the ultimate weapon to break down male willpower. Is this the Count's method of controlling people? This so-called strong liquor is basically an aphrodisiac. The ice fin mermaid species is truly too terrifying. My body is gradually being drained. After the pleasure, the mermaid princess softly asks if I want to completely possess them. My heart tightens. First reaction is this is a trap. Any man might find this temptation irresistible, but they're clearly important pieces in the Count's hand. How would they easily betray? Before I can think further, the mermaid princess raises her finger to her lips, her tone certain, telling me to kill the Count and become their new master. I suppress the shock in my heart, mouth casually saying don't joke, but from the corner of my eye I see their nails already aimed at my temple. I'm secretly vigilant. Is this the Count's another round of testing? Or is there something else? But my mouth still carries some teasing. Complaining we've at least had intimate contact. Why turn on me so quickly? The mermaid princess reaches out to cup my face, admitting precisely because of that deep exchange, she truly understood me. The second richest person from another world, the hero of benevolence. My true name explodes like thunder in my mind. I'm full of questions. Only the naive holy saintess knows my secret. Absolutely no second person could know. The mermaid princess sees through my thoughts, actively explaining that female royal members of the Icefin mermaid clan possess mind-reading abilities, and the trigger condition is precisely deep exchange with males. Since my identity has been exposed, I simply drop the pretense, stating directly that honest communication is the best strategy. I begin analyzing that I currently have no ability to kill the Count. If they wanted to act, their opportunities and abilities are surely stronger than mine, yet they still tempt me to act. There are only two possibilities. Either testing for the Count, but if so, directly revealing my true identity would suffice. The first guess naturally collapses. That leaves only the second possibility. I have irreplaceable value to them, or they need me to accomplish something. So they first tempted with beauty, and after failure, now threaten with secrets. Since I have unique value and they hold my lifeline, this is a business deal. I urge them to state their true purpose. Why make things so tense? The mermaid princess's eyes flash with approval. Admitting I'm indeed the one who can bring variables, she softly recounts that in the moment of becoming one, she saw all my joyful moments and glimpsed my deeply hidden sorrow, saw my unmatched massive desire for money, also saw my powerful mind that resists monetary erosion and controls everything, and that tenderness hidden beneath wealth, untouchable in the deepest part of my heart. I patiently ask what she really wants, but she changes the subject, smiling and saying what she wants is me. I immediately joke I'm priceless, urging her to change her request, but she's incredibly determined, saying I'm her first man and will be her last. My heart stirs. I can't help asking if she's had entanglements with the Count. She shakes her head in denial, informing that the Count has special sexual cleanliness, never having relations with non-human races. Also adding the Count has never had them personally serve men to test sincerity. This proves he's indeed extremely interested in me. I think to myself as expected, coinciding with previous speculation. The mermaid princess changes her tone, gravely instructing me that after leaving, I must report them to the Count. This is the Count's final test of my loyalty. I look at the mermaid princess, can't help asking, if I truthfully report, won't they be in danger? A smile flashes in her eyes, stating directly I'm indeed gentle, then seriously saying that before bearing my offspring, she'll never let herself be in danger. I get up to dress, sighing that women in this world are far more difficult to deal with than those in the original world 100 times over. I then ask how to contact them afterward, but she instructs not to actively contact before the Count's death. She'll appear when I need help, also softly telling me her name, asking me to remember it, saying after all she's my first woman in this world. I helplessly shake my head. Such an experience, even wanting to forget would be difficult. After I leave, the blue mermaid beside can't help asking the princess, questioning whether I'm worth such risk. The mermaid princess's tone is firm, asserting I'm destined to become king and dominate, unifying all under heaven, saying I'll be their true master henceforth. Subordinates must have the resolve to die for me, and the mermaid princess herself vows to personally bear my first bloodline. Then I follow the maid through the deep corridor. Arriving at the lounge, the Count is already waiting. He opens by asking if I'm satisfied with the mermaid's service. I first praise it as a wonderful experience never before had, then hesitate, admitting I don't know if I should say something. After the Count signals to speak freely, I truthfully inform that the mermaids tried to tempt me to kill him. As soon as I finish speaking, I immediately kneel on one knee, solemnly pledging loyalty, henceforth swearing to serve the Count unto death, begging to become a sharp blade in his hand, piercing all enemies. Interest flashes in the Count's eyes, telling me to say what I can bring him. I state directly it's money. I come from a merchant family. Business talent flows in my blood. This is my family's means of survival. The Count laughs scornfully, asking back if he looks like he lacks money. I calmly respond that family motto is money. A little more is never bad. Moreover, before he defeats the king of Crocodile Bay Kingdom, his nephew, the tyrannical little king, he must be short on money. The Count's expression shifts slightly, admitting I've indeed come prepared, telling me to continue. I then outline the situation of Crocodile Bay Kingdom. With Crocodile Jaw Giant Teeth Dam to Secret Flow City as boundary, the northwest is territory of the Royalist Party supporting the current king, while the southeast is territory of the Duke Party supporting him. 14 years ago, when his father, the king, was dying, he passed the throne to his elder brother, and under elder brother's instigation, he was forced to accept the most remote fief crocodile town. But he didn't sink, instead, enduring hardship and using iron-blooded methods to strengthen his power. By the time elder brother realized and wanted to eliminate him, it was already too late. The Count takes over the narrative, his tone carrying some ferocity, mentioning 3 years ago he defeated 12,000 kingdom troops with 3,000 men, also personally drowning elder brother in gloomy crocodile crocodile swamp. I follow up, pointing out precisely because of this, the current tyrannical little king hates him to the bone, wanting to kill him desperately. The count looks completely disdainful, mocking that the useless father-son pair are to him merely two patches of rotten moss on gloomy crocodile swamp. I nod in agreement, saying they indeed aren't worthy to be the count's opponents. I think quickly, recalling what the stubborn little girl once said. Memories surge. At that time, I asked the stubborn little girl about matters related to the count. She introduced with a face full of reverence that Crocodile Duke is Crocodile Bay Kingdom's pillar, founding first hero, kingdom's first fierce general. Moreover, the only duke, also the tyrannical little king's grandfather. He once single-handedly tamed the Black Iron Abyss crocodile clan, formed the Iron Abyss Knights, the hero of the entire kingdom. I was full of doubt at the time. What power could a knight order riding crocodiles have? The stubborn little girl immediately refuted, saying although Iron Abyss Knights number only 1,000, they're Crocodile Bay Kingdom's strongest legion. Even the Azure Army, one of the 8 great demon control corps of the Singa Magic Alliance, was once defeated under Crocodile Duke. My heart tightened, thinking silently, if crocodiles are this country's important war vehicle, most likely forbidden to kill, then the first stage of my business plan would be unable to move forward. Who knew? The stubborn little girl changed her tone, sighing that if only the crocodiles in gloomy crocodile swamp were Black Iron Abyss crocodiles, they never actively attack humans. I immediately seized the key point, asking her meaning, only to learn that inhabiting gloomy crocodile swamp are thorn armor fierce swamp crocodiles. These are new breeds the count bred by crossbreeding Black Iron Abyss crocodiles with thorn fierce crocodiles to counter Iron Abyss Knights. These crocodiles are superior to Black Iron Abyss crocodiles in every aspect. Their crocodile armor hard as iron with sharp spikes, but temperament too ferocious, impossible to tame. After the count tried multiple times and failed, he simply released them to gloomy crocodile swamp. With no natural enemies, they overran. Ordinary people simply cannot cross this swamp alive. I secretly praised the count's clever methods. Releasing untamable crocodiles both forms a natural biological barrier against Iron Abyss Knights and prevents Crocodile Town residents from fleeing, preserving labor, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. The stubborn little girl, seeing me praise the villain, immediately refutes with dissatisfaction, but I'm secretly delighted. In this way, the key obstacle to the first stage of my business plan no longer exists. Memories stop abruptly here. I quickly speak out that Crocodile Duke and Iron Abyss Knights are the count's only obstacle. The count nods appreciatively, then asks if my meaning is that with enough money I can defeat them. I give an affirmative answer. The count tells me to elaborate on the plan. After a detailed explanation, the count looks troubled, saying this will drain his entire fortune. I tell him that scattered wealth will return again. Once he possesses the entire kingdom, this money is merely a drop in the bucket. The count finally agrees but proposes a final test. From today, I'm the new mayor of Crocodile Town. Need to earn 100,000 gold crocodiles in 3 months, during which he won't provide any financial support. I readily agree while proposing a requirement. Need someone who can use violence to ensure order execution and protect my personal safety. The count raises his hand and calls out in a deep voice for Shadow Ghost. As soon as he speaks, a woman's phantom appears on the wall. Then that phantom with a proud figure suddenly flies out of the wall, then lands steadily. The count orders Shadow Ghost to serve as my personal guard, not to refuse any of my requests. Shadow Ghost respectfully accepts the order. Meanwhile, in the royal palace of Crocodile Bay Kingdom, luxury yet absurd, the tyrannical little king is whipping kneeling maids, forcing them to crawl on the ground and bark like dogs, also declaring whoever learns best, he'll ennoble her husband as a hereditary knight. He's beating enthusiastically. Bang! The door is suddenly pushed open forcefully. The queen mother in gorgeous palace dress angrily strides in quickly. The little king freezes seeing this, the whip in his hand instinctively stopping. The queen mother strides up to the tyrannical little king, raises her hand and viciously slaps him. She sternly demands if he, as a nation's ruler, knows what he's doing. The tyrannical little king looks completely impatient, complaining his fun was interrupted at the most exciting moment, still arguing confidently, saying his father the king played even more excessively back then. The maids before him were originally kept by his father when he was alive. Their husbands could be promoted to knights within 3 years, all thanks to this relationship. The knight beside can no longer tolerate such humiliation, suddenly draws his sword, committing suicide on the spot to prove his integrity. He angrily rebukes that the little king will sooner or later end up like his father, becoming a rotting corpse on the swamp. The tyrannical little king doesn't hesitate to pull the crossbow trigger, shooting the knight dead on the spot, his tone cold, telling him to stop talking nonsense. If he wants to die, hurry up and die. The little king's queen mother watches this scene, desperately saying he's completely beyond saving. The kingdom will sooner or later be ruined in his hands. The tyrannical little king doesn't care, certain that as long as grandfather Crocodile Duke is alive, he'll forever be the king of Crocodile Bay. On the other side, I return to Blue Palace Inn. Upon entering, I immediately feel 3 burning gazes. The naive holy saintess, sexy proprietress, and stubborn little girl are all staring at me in unison. I've said 10,000 times I'm fine, but they still don't believe me. The naive holy saintess looks completely incredulous, unable to understand how the count could possibly let me return unharmed. The sexy proprietress also chimes in, saying I incited people to beat his tax soldiers. Even if not fed to crocodiles, I should at least be tortured into serious injury. The stubborn little girl frowns, her eyes full of suspicion, clearly not believing I'm unscathed either. Suddenly, the naive holy saintess points sharply at my neck, crying out she's found the wound, saying there's a purple mark there. The stubborn little girl leans forward, guessing it's from fierce mosquito bites in the swamp. The mermaid princess's kiss instantly flashes through my mind, and my heart panics, quickly raising my hand to cover my neck, trying to hide it. But the naive holy saintess doesn't give me a choice and strips off my clothes. She stares at the large patches of bruises of varying shades on my body, heartbroken, certain I suffered mysterious torture. The stubborn little girl also clenches her fists, angrily denouncing the count as too cruel. The sexy proprietress initially agrees, then her eyes narrow slightly, seeming to sense something's off. I quickly put my clothes back on, saying perhaps other bugs bit me. Anyway, the naive holy saintess knows healing arts, telling them not to worry unnecessarily, then changing the subject. I announced something big, saying I've pledged loyalty to the Count and taken the position as the new mayor of Crocodile Town. The room instantly falls into deathly silence. Moments later, the stubborn little girl suddenly explodes, angrily rebuking me for being crazy, actually pledging loyalty to that demon. Before she finishes speaking, Shadow Ghost suddenly appears, suddenly grabbing her neck, coldly saying Lord Count is not for her to judge. I quickly stop her, indicating Shadow Ghost only needs to warn, emphasizing this little girl has important value to us. Shadow Ghost releases her hand at my command, kneeling respectfully before me. The sexy proprietress's pupils constrict sharply, shocked in her heart, recognizing him as one of the Count's 4 fierce generals. I smoothly introduce solemnly that Shadow Ghost is the close guard the Count sent to handle my security, telling everyone to applaud and welcome. The sexy proprietress immediately puts on a full smile in agreement, thinking to herself that in just one night, I was able to make the Count put his absolute confidant among the 4 fierce generals at my disposal. Truly impressive. My gaze slowly sweeps over the 3, seriously warning them that even if someone harbors prejudice against the Count, from now on absolutely no overstepping is allowed, or don't blame me for righteously handing them over to Shadow Ghost for disposal. Looking at their varied expressions, I think to myself, although I previously instructed everyone to act obedient in front of the Count's subordinates, it now seems ultimately still somewhat forced, but this actually makes it more realistic. Open spears are easy to dodge, hidden arrows are hard to guard against. Actually, even if I didn't actively ask the Count for people, he would definitely send someone to secretly monitor. Rather than let the Watcher hide in the dark, difficult to control, better to find a reason to let them openly follow by my side, instead gaining the initiative. I then clap my hands, instructing everyone to rest early. Tomorrow morning they must accompany me to the town center for the mayor's inauguration speech. On the way back to my room, I also instruct the sexy proprietress to arrange the top luxury suite for Shadow Ghost, billing it to my account. The sexy proprietress waves her hand, saying she should host Lord Shadow Ghost for free. Shadow Ghost refuses, saying she'll protect me from the shadows. Watching Shadow Ghost's figure disappear into the shadows, I secretly praise her ability to use shadows to hide and conceal, whether gathering intelligence or executing assassinations. It's absolutely perfect. Such talent is wasted on the Count. Must find a way to recruit her to become a core employee of my G group. Night deepens. I soon fall sound asleep. Shadow Ghost has already lurked in the dark, locked onto me. She silently recites the Count's order. While I sleep, steal all my possessions. So she quietly removes her outer layer. Her figure instantly melts into darkness, entering complete stealth, then happily begins the treasure hunt. She first searches through bags, then systematically checks shelves, then pries open cabinet drawers, checking every corner, even carefully inspecting the gaps under the toilet, yet never seeing a single gold coin's trace. Finally, her gaze locks onto the bed, tiptoeing to the bedside, slowly raising both feet spread apart, straddling my waist and abdomen, beginning to rustle and search for things on my body. I feel itchy on my body, instinctively thinking my little sister Zishi has come, grabbing her wrist, mumbling in sleep talk, telling my sister to stop playing around, then pulling her into my arms with force, holding her tightly, ordering her to obediently lie down and sleep. Shadow Ghost's whole body stiffens, completely stunned. She's full of suspicion. How could I be moving? She clearly lit the sleep incense dream orchid in the room. This incense can knock out an adult mountain mammoth. Not until hearing my subsequent sleep talk does she realize I'm just immersed in dreams. So she becomes bolder, continuing to search and pat down my body, left hand rummaging inside my clothes, right hand searching around my waist. Just then I suddenly tighten my arms, holding her even tighter. Her heart startles, quickly struggling hard, but discovers she completely can't break free from my embrace. Even stranger, this tight embrace has no suffocating tightness. Instead, warmth wraps around her whole body, making her inexplicably feel at ease, as if returning to childhood when brother held her sleeping in stable times. The tight defense in her heart gradually loosens, simply deciding to rest in my arms for a moment first, then gently closing her eyes to nap. She directly falls deeply asleep. The next morning, just at dawn, the naive holy saintess, mindful of important matters today, gets up before daylight. The sexy proprietress, calculating to capture my stomach with her specialty sweets, also prepares exquisite breakfast early. The stubborn little girl tosses and turns for a long time, determined in her heart to properly thank me. Finally, the 3 coincidentally gather at my bedroom door. After brief pleasantries, the 3 decide to push the door open together. What greets their eyes is actually me and Shadow Ghost embracing each other in sweet slumber. The 3 instantly freeze in place, their expressions full of shock. I hear the sound and open my eyes, seeing 3 people standing by the bed. Can't help but be surprised they got up so early. I sit up, seeing their strange expressions, joking that looking at their expressions, those unaware would think a woman suddenly appeared in my bed. Before finishing speaking, my gaze sweeps to my side. Instantly my jaw nearly drops. Why is Shadow Ghost lying naked beside me? The naive holy saintess looks completely shocked, flustered and incoherent. The sexy proprietress thinks to herself beside them. Both annoyed Shadow Ghost got there first, and puzzled whether this is the Count's honey trap. But watching Shadow Ghost's blissful appearance, it doesn't seem forced. Increasingly curious what kind of person I am to make the Count hand over his confidant in one night, and make a killer at Shadow Ghost's level willingly offer herself. The stubborn little girl looks completely confused, asking the naive holy saintess why the Count's minion would be naked sharing a bed with me. The naive holy saintess hastily covers her eyes, afraid she'll be corrupted by such a scene. Just then, Shadow Ghost groggily wakes, murmuring brother, pulling me, who's solemnly explaining, back into her arms in one move, holding tightly. The naive holy saintess can't stand it anymore. So angry her face turns iron blue, immediately hoisting the stubborn little girl and turning to leave. The sexy proprietress also sets down the breakfast sweets, saying when we're done resting we can depart, then hurriedly exits the room. I helplessly cover Shadow Ghost with a blanket, my heart full of questions, not understanding why the Count's subordinates would approach me one after another. An hour later, Shadow Ghost finally gets up, murmuring search in her mouth, gradually opening her eyes. The next second she sees me sitting right in front of her, instantly draws a short blade pointing at my brow. I sigh helplessly, stating directly that last night it was clearly she who ran to my bed. Now awake yet wielding a blade fiercely at me, really can't can't understand a woman's heart. Shadow Ghost's expression fierce, commanding me not to leak half a word about last night. My heart stirs, her reaction so intense this matter definitely wasn't the Count's instruction. I then inform her that the naive Holy Saintess and the others just saw. Hearing this, Shadow Ghost suddenly rises, about to go silence them. I quickly grab her, analyzing the pros and cons, saying they're all important tools for me to make money for the Count. Without them, I can't earn money. Can't earn money, the Count can't defeat Crocodile Duke, much less become king of Crocodile Bay. She simply cannot bear such responsibility. I promise to make them keep their mouths shut. After all, if the Count knows about this matter, it will produce unpredictable consequences for both of us. Better to let this become a shared secret between us. Shadow Ghost falls silent for a moment, dropping harsh words. If the matter is exposed, she'll kill me first. I calmly accept, then remind her that as my bodyguard, she shouldn't point her blade at the protected target. Saying this, I suddenly grip her wrist, with slight force directly lifting her up. Shadow Ghost's heart stirs strangely, clearly feeling my strength isn't great, yet her body completely cannot resist. Childhood scenes suddenly emerge. Brother back then also lifted her like this, warning her not to play with knives. Finally she relents, telling me to let go, agreeing to act according to my instructions. I release my hand, having Shadow Ghost notify the naive Holy Saintess and others to prepare to depart for the town center square. After everyone finishes dressing and preparing, our group sets out toward the town center square. At this time, the square has already gathered quite a few townspeople. Some lament Crocodile Town has changed mayors again. Some count the short lives of previous mayors. The unluckiest previous one lasted only a month before being fed to crocodiles by the Count. Everyone's speculating how long I can survive in this position, when the guard loudly announces the mayor's arrival. The townspeople, seeing my appearance clearly, explode even more. Some recognize me as that foreign noble who dared to trouble the Count's tax soldiers. Some wonder why I could become mayor after hitting the Count's people, guessing I'm the Count's relative. I clear my throat twice to break the clamor, solemnly commanding the entire venue to be quiet. As the scene gradually quiets, I loudly announce I'm the new mayor of Crocodile Town, telling everyone I took office as mayor for only 3 things: making money, just making money. Even publicly promising that within 3 months, every household in Crocodile Town will earn at least 100 gold crocodiles. As soon as I finish speaking, the townspeople explode again, many secretly mocking that my brain is burned out. I call the naive Holy Saintess's name. She immediately understands and steps forward, scattering prepared papers toward the crowd. After seeing the content clearly, the townspeople cry out in surprise. It's a crocodile killing decree. The decree clearly states that without damaging crocodile armor, within 10 days each killed thorn armor fierce swamp crocodile can claim 1 gold crocodile reward, and medical expenses for injuries during hunting are all borne by the mayor. This action of mine is to obtain crocodile armor. Crocodile Duke can defeat powerful magic legions relying on black iron abyss crocodiles. From this, we can deduce that black iron abyss crocodile armor must have extremely high magic resistance, and thorn armor fierce swamp crocodiles are crossbred from black iron abyss crocodiles. Their crocodile armor must also have certain magic resistance, so processing crocodile armor into armor can definitely obtain huge profits. Among the townspeople, some are attracted by the 1 gold crocodile reward, but others worry that killing crocodiles is a capital crime in the kingdom, and others directly say I want to kill them. Until someone discovers the Count's fire seal below the crocodile killing decree, the discussion slightly calms. Thoughts flash back. I once asked the Count for permission to issue a decree to hunt thorn armor fierce swamp crocodiles. The Count immediately agreed, but limited the validity to only 3 months. I assure the townspeople the crocodile killing decree was personally signed by the Count, urging them to trust the master of the fire seal, but doubts haven't dispersed. Some think killing crocodiles for money is a scam, some demand to first fill their stomachs, others are certain this is the Count's trap, first tricking them into hunting crocodiles, then ordering severe punishment, then forcing them to pay ransom. I'm secretly annoyed. The Count's excessive exploitation of Crocodile Town has long made the people completely lose trust in their lord. Things are far trickier than expected. The attendant beside, seeing this, suggests no need to waste words with these troublemakers. If they don't execute orders, directly execute them. I immediately refute. Popular resentment has reached its limit. Forcing with violence will only trigger riots. Must quickly think of a way to restore townspeople's trust, otherwise previous groundwork will fall short of success. I think it over. Only by advancing rewards can the situation be broken. But before I can make this decision public, a sharp sound suddenly pierces the air. I'm caught off guard by an arrow, my body softening and collapsing. The naive Holy Saintess cries out Lord Hero and rushes over. I quickly signal her to be quiet, whispering to remind her to call me Baron henceforth. She anxiously asks if I'm injured. I comfort her that I just added steel-lined chest protection yesterday. Should be enough to resist arrows. Who knew? The stubborn little girl rushes over to check the crossbow bolt stuck in the chest protection, suddenly crying out in alarm. The naive Holy Saintess follows her gaze to discover blood has already seeped from my chest. Looking down, I didn't expect this steel chest protection was actually shot through. Shadow Ghost reacts extremely fast, quickly stepping forward to press me down, solemnly instructing me not to move recklessly, or I'll tear the wound. Speaking, she decisively snaps off the arrow feather sticking out, but I'm single-mindedly concerned about the assassin's whereabouts, urging her to quickly pursue. Shadow Ghost insists on refusing, stating directly that if there are other assassins on site, leaving us is too dangerous. She simultaneously points at the crossbow bolt, informing everyone this is Iron Abyss Knight's standard regulation arrow. My heart suddenly tightens, a chill running straight up my spine. At this moment, a knight's figure appears. He leaps down from the high wall, landing steadily with agile posture, a set of handsome armor, looking very fierce. The surrounding attendants, seeing this, immediately draw swords in defense. The tax soldier leader calls out loudly to protect Lord Mayor, ordering subordinates to charge immediately. Subordinates steal swords, all slash down together, viciously chopping at the opponent's armor. The next second, they're all forcefully bounced back. The knight locks onto my position, charging forward fiercely, breaking through like a hot knife through butter, sending several soldiers flying. The soldiers who suffered losses don't dare slack off, quickly surrounding from all directions, trapping the knight tightly in the middle. Then all thrust spears at the knight, only to discover in shock that spear points can't pierce at all. Shadow Ghost, seeing this, volunteers to fight, saying the opponent's armor can perfectly defend against ordinary metal weapons. Just then, the stubborn little girl suddenly charges at that knight, shouting Grandpa. The knight hears this, glaring at me with rage, eyes full of killing intent, then suddenly exerts force, leaping upward, threatening to smash out my brains, sternly accusing me of audacity to kidnap his dear granddaughter. The stubborn little girl quickly explains she wasn't kidnapped, saying she almost had her hands chopped off. I saved her and even taught those thugs a lesson. The knight hears and instantly pulls back his force, his figure swerving past me, landing nimbly before the little girl. He looks at his granddaughter, half believing and half doubting, asking if my situation is true. I calmly nod in confirmation. The knight slowly removes his helmet, revealing a weathered yet vigorous face. The knight old man changes his tone, throwing out new doubts, hearing I tricked the stubborn little girl back as a maid, now even transforming into Crocodile Town mayor, suspecting I colluded with the count early on, the purpose being to abduct his granddaughter. Shadow Ghost's figure flickers, instantly appearing behind the old man, the cold blade already pressed against his temple, threatening if he doesn't let go, the blade will pierce through the other temple. The old man's expression calm and fearless, recognizing at a glance Shadow Ghost uses shadow magic, certain she's a dark elf from Gloomy Valley, also declaring her shadow blade may not pierce his crocodile armor thorn battle helm. Shadow Ghost retorts sarcastically, questioning his use of Iron Abyss Legion's regulation crossbow bolts. Could he be a spy sent by Crocodile Duke? My heart stirs, my gaze falling on the old man's armor. Taking advantage of their standoff, I reach out to touch it, instantly overjoyed in my heart. This armor's material clearly matches the Thorn Armor Fierce Swamp Crocodile's crocodile armor. The old man, seeing this, angrily rebukes, saying he not only kills crocodiles but has killed no less than 100. This battle helm and shield are made from the crocodile armor of 7 Thorn Armor Fierce Swamp crocodiles. Also mocking that I want to use the crocodile killing decree to establish authority, but he ruined it. The surrounding townspeople explode. Some cry out the old man is crazy, daring to openly admit killing crocodiles. Seeing everyone still doesn't believe my crocodile killing decree, I'm secretly glad in my heart. The old man came at just the right time, perfectly solving this trust crisis. The next second I raise a smiling face, thumbs up, loudly praising the old man for doing well, then retrieving 7 gold crocodile coins from the Sea of Consciousness, handing them before him, informing these are his rewards for killing 7 crocodiles. The townspeople instantly uproar, never expecting I'd actually honor the reward on the spot. Some cry out the old man injured the count's soldiers yet still gets a reward. Looks like Lord Mayor keeps his word. The old man freezes in place, taking the gold coins and rubbing them repeatedly to confirm, quickly asking if my kill crocodiles for reward statement on stage is true. I smile and respond it's truer than gold, and benefits aren't just these. As soon as I finish speaking, the sexy proprietress carries flowers and an honor sash forward, announcing the first 50 people to hunt crocodiles can claim Blue Palace special VIP cards with crocodile eyes, can enjoy free lodging for 3 days, subsequent consumption all 50% off, and can bring family members. The townspeople completely boil over, all amazed they can stay at a luxury inn for free. Even if they lose their lives for this, it's worth it. 4 hours earlier, I suddenly visit the sexy proprietress's room. She mistakenly thinks I've come for pleasure, her heart instantly filled with anticipation, actively leaning closer into my arms, a face full of shy affection, her eyes flowing with charm between glances. I also lean toward her accordingly, reaching to gently support her waist, my other hand exploring toward the wall. The sexy proprietress's red lips curl slightly, teasing whether last night Miss Shadow Ghost didn't satisfy me. My fingertips touch the wall surface, feeling the temperature, joking back that the elf's endurance is much weaker than I imagined. The sexy proprietress's cheeks flush red, shyly saying then give her all last night's unreleased fire. But I suddenly release my hand and step back, saying flatly the wall is cold. Then explaining I already noticed last night, when Shadow Ghost uses shadow magic to possess walls, the wall surface heats up. Now the wall is ice cold, indicating Shadow Ghost isn't secretly eavesdropping. The sexy proprietress is instantly confused, thinking she could finally become my woman. Her full expectations fell empty, not expecting I went through all this trouble just to test whether Shadow Ghost is nearby. I tell her that was just slightly acting in case Shadow Ghost was there. Actually, my true purpose in finding her is to make money together with her. I propose making her my official employee, promising to help her pay off all Blue Palace's debts within half a year. The sexy proprietress's eyes light up, her face unable to hide her emotion. I smoothly pull out a pre-prepared contract and hand it to her. The sexy proprietress takes the contract to look through, raising her head to ask what additional conditions there are. I state the condition is permanently possessing 70% of Blue Palace's annual net profit and controlling the highest marketing management decision-making power. Externally, she's still the only boss. The sexy proprietress quickly weighs pros and cons, knowing she cannot fill this hole. Blue Palace will have to be mortgaged to the count in another month. Rather than having nothing, better to gamble. She decisively reaches out to take the contract, promptly signing her name with a flourish, then forcefully biting her fingertip, solemnly pressing a red handprint beside the signature. I then have her rush order hard cards printed with Blue Palace's name, preparing for subsequent marketing. Memories stop abruptly here. The sexy proprietress watches the boiling crowd, secretly praising my clever methods in her heart. The townspeople in the square stir with new commotion. Some wonder about soldiers setting up a fire pit, mistakenly thinking I'm going to execute the night old man. Who knew the next second I directly remove my expensive outer coat, without hesitation throwing it into the fire pit. The naive holy saintess beside feels heartbroken, murmuring that the clothes are worth 1,500 gold crocodiles, yet I just burn them. Watching the restless crowd, I take a deep breath, continuing my speech. I admit I was once a parasitic noble who got something for nothing and exploited the people. Until meeting the naive holy saintess did I suddenly awaken. Understanding destiny is humanity's invisible shackles from birth, and the meaning of being human is precisely breaking these shackles. I loudly question everyone. Aren't the current shackles exactly crocodiles surrounding us, barren farmland, and oppressive taxes? If we truly want to escape poverty and become rich, we can only go all out. I solemnly declare that from this moment I'm no longer a noble but an ordinary member of Crocodile Town. We'll execute the crocodile killing decree together with everyone. As soon as I finish speaking, the townspeople's emotions are completely ignited. Uniform slogans echo through the square. Kill crocodiles. Get rich. Together rush toward the road to happiness. The calls rise and fall continuously, not dispersing for a long time. The sexy proprietress beside sincerely praises, saying in just 1 hour I made all townspeople completely convinced. But my vision becomes increasingly blurred. My body's limit has ultimately unfortunately arrived. Eyes going black, I completely lose consciousness. Everyone seeing this quickly carries me back to the inn room. Shadow Ghost immediately steps forward, carefully extracting the arrowhead. The naive holy saintess then casts healing arts beside me. The sexy proprietress patiently feeds me medicine. A full 5 hours pass. I finally slowly wake. The naive holy saintess, seeing me wake, is both angry and anxious, complaining I was vigorous on stage with an arrow in my chest, nearly dying from excessive blood loss. But I don't care, thinking steel chest protection is enough to resist. Arrowhead at most penetrated less than an inch, not worth fearing. Shadow Ghost beside coldly interjects, saying Iron Abyss Knight's regulation crossbow bolts have bloodletting grooves. Even without hitting vital points, if the arrowhead stays in the body over half an hour, one will die from blood loss. Also explaining she saw me shouting slogans energetically, so didn't remind. I silently criticize her. Clearly she's retaliating for my morning threat, but I can't bother arguing with her, quickly asking if the stubborn little girl and her grandfather left. The sexy proprietress smiles in response. Already anticipated I'd look for the old man first upon waking. Already settled him well. I nod in approval, instructing her to absolutely treat him well, emphasizing the old man is key to leading the whole town and executing the crocodile killing decree. Absolutely can't have any mistakes. At this time in another guest room, the old man drinks heartily, feasting without restraint. The stubborn little girl can't help but ask, saying Grandpa once said he'd never accept others' charity. The old man waves his hand, saying this is hospitality, not charity. Also telling his granddaughter to eat more, educating her that noble's wool should be plucked when it can be. At this time I smile and push open the door, asking the old man if he's eating satisfactorily. He smacks his lips, complaining the alcohol's kick is too weak, not satisfying enough. I'm already prepared, taking out Firethroat, saying I'll drink with him to his heart's content. The old man's eyes light up, saying Firethroat's brewing technique is controlled by royalty. Even if ordinary people have money, they can't buy it. Praising that to host him, I really spent heavily. I signal accompanying people to exit, wanting to talk privately with the old man. Shadow Ghost immediately objects, worried I'm in danger alone with him. I use a commanding tone, telling her to obey. Though Shadow Ghost is unwilling in her heart, she ultimately respectfully accepts the order, turning to exit the room, secretly complaining only brother could scold her like this. Only us two remain in the room. I get straight to the point, expressing I want to hire him as chief consultant for hunting thorn armor fierce swamp crocodiles and making crocodile armor thorn battle helms. As for compensation, he can name his price. The old man looks doubtful, stating directly he almost killed me just now. I respond calmly, whether he wanted to kill me has no connection to my hiring him. Even if he shoots me with another arrow, as long as I don't die, I'll get up and continue negotiating until it's settled. The old man looks completely surprised, saying he's lived most his life and never seen someone like me, asking what I'm risking my life for. I smile, restating what I said during the speech, naturally for money. The old man doesn't understand. Mayors have many money-making channels, collecting more taxes and grain is easier. Why go through such trouble pushing the crocodile killing decree? I explain. Single household townspeople create limited value, exploitation yields are meager and easily cause riots. Only when townspeople get rich first can more taxes be collected. After hearing this, the old man's eyes show approval, admitting he's starting to like me a bit, then proposing a wager. If tonight I can drink him under the table, he'll be consultant for free, otherwise 1,000 gold crocodile employment fee. I immediately accept, shouting it's a deal. The old man boasts his alcohol tolerance is unfathomable, warning me Firethroat is strong and can easily drink people to death, advising me not to lose more than I gain from greed. An hour later, only I calmly walk out from the room. I tell everyone I'm fine, even smoothly obtained the free consultant contract, then putting my arm around the naive holy saintess, asking her to send me back to my room to rest, then pointing at the guest room, laughing that the old man is drunk senseless. Hearing this, the stubborn little girl quickly rushes into the room, only to see Grandpa completely drunk, collapsed in the chair, unable to move. I laugh inwardly. My alcohol tolerance, trained over so many years in sea country's drinking culture, isn't easily surpassed. After returning to the room, I fall into bed and sleep. Sleep incense dream orchid quietly permeates, and Shadow Ghost also quietly appears again. She silently recites that dark elves never give up until reaching their goal. Then recalling during the day I took out gold coins from my clothes when giving the old man money, but subsequently burned the outer garment, immediately determining money isn't in the outer coat but in the shirt. But she repeatedly searches and fumbles on my shirt, still finding nothing. 2 consecutive fruitless searches make her instantly furious, swearing even if she has to peel my skin she'll find where the money is hidden. After all, this time she specially added double dosage of sleep incense. Even if she stabs me, I won't wake. Moreover, I drank quite a bit of alcohol, even more defenseless, so she becomes bolder, directly removing my clothing, carefully searching again on exposed skin for a long time, still not finding a single trace of gold coins. My little brother drowsily mutters about feeling hot and heavy, instantly rising up vigorously, expressing absolute refusal to yield. The strange sensation from below makes Shadow Ghost instantly feel something's wrong. She clearly senses something below seems scorching hot and approaching. Half dreaming, half awake, I suddenly firmly grab her arm, borrowing the force of alcohol and instinct, smoothly pressing her tightly beneath me. She thinks I'm awake, hastily explaining this is a misunderstanding. But at this moment my little brother is driven by instinct, approaching her step by step, wanting to conquer the abyss. Shadow Ghost is instantly both embarrassed and anxious, declaring if I don't stop she'll kill me. Speaking, she tries to condense a shadow blade, but just as another wave of impact arrives, she discovers she simply cannot condense the shadow blade. In the chaos, key information suddenly flashes through her mind. It's because of Firethroat. Then her mind goes completely blank, thoroughly losing composure. Only physical pleasure remains. She faces this long absent warmth like brothers, gradually letting down her guard and compromising, from initial resistance to gradual compliance, finally completely sinking into this out-of-control tenderness. Shadow Ghost like a greedy yet timid female beast, passively accepting the supreme pleasure again and again, until Firethroat burns out completely in my body. After a night of chaos, residual heat and soreness intertwine and assault me, my head splitting with pain, the sagging sensation at my waist even worse. I barely prop myself up, only to see the naive holy saintess with dark circles barging in. She says in a panic that her room is haunted. She didn't sleep all night. I comfort her, saying how could there be real ghosts in this world, then reach out to gently pat her back to ease her mind. But she tightly hugs my arm, insisting on sleeping with me, both acting cute and being unreasonable. I helplessly agree while instructing instructing her to act low-key from now on, telling her to first return to her room and change into plain clothes. After washing up, I call out Shadow Ghost's name twice into the air, yet receive no response at all. I can only reach out to knock on the wall beside me. After a long while, she slowly emerges, just her head from the wall. Seeing only her head emerge, I'm full of confusion, opening my mouth to ask why she won't come out fully, also instructing her to notify everyone to gather in the meeting room. Who knew as soon as I finish speaking, Shadow Ghost instantly explodes. I mutter silently to myself, her morning temper is really bad. Once everyone gradually arrives, I clear my throat, officially announcing the establishment of the Crocodile Town Revitalization Committee. I decide to use Q&A interaction to help everyone quickly engage. First, pointing out that implementing the revitalization plan's core is commercial trade, and the key lies in three major elements: goods, customers, and profits. I throw out the first question: what can become a commodity? The sexy proprietress responds first, saying things with value. I nod approvingly, adding that highly summarized its value. Then leading to the core, Crocodile Town's most valuable commodity is precisely protective gear made from crocodile armor. I explain that although the thorn armor fierce swamp crocodiles overrunning isolated Crocodile Town from the outside world, it also brought precious biological resources. Their crocodile armor's physical and magical resistance are excellent. Magic resistance can even reach about 60% of the rare metal mountain copper. Seeing everyone thoughtful, I continue throwing out the second question: who will buy crocodile armor protective gear? The naive holy saintess says adventurers and soldiers. The sexy proprietress adds not wealthy countries, mercenary groups, and adventurer teams. The old man further narrows the scope, pointing to groups who frequently face magical threats yet can't afford conventional magic-resistant protective gear. I guide them to focus on local reality, pointing out land routes are controlled by the Royalist Party. Trading with distant countries isn't realistic. The best customers are actually people coming to Purgatory Ring Island to hunt molten feather dragon sparrow feathers. Ordinary adventurers and non-major nation mercenary groups are precise target audience, because they urgently need high magic-resistant protective gear yet can't afford high prices. The sexy proprietress immediately nods, agreeing with my judgment, then adding that their consumption willingness is extremely strong, just lacking suitable cost-effective options. I smile, reminding everyone, these people need not wait long, they'll arrive soon. The old man lowers his head to ponder for a moment, then speaks with delight. Less than a month until the annual feather hunting season, when hunters will swarm in. The sexy proprietress, based on past business experience, roughly estimates no less than 5,000 feather hunters come each year, peaking at 10,000. If each set of crocodile armor gear nets 5 gold crocodiles profit, in 3 months, we can earn at least 25,000 gold crocodiles. Watching everyone's excited expressions, I directly state earning only this much is far from enough. The old man raises his brows in surprise, stroking his beard in confusion. I explain the thorn armor fierce swamp crocodile's value isn't just crocodile armor. Fish meat and organs can all be developed into commodities. I propose encouraging townspeople to research crocodile meat cuisine, packaging them as crocodile hearts that enhance physical ability, crocodile eyes that improve vision, crocodile whips that strengthen virility, and other functional ingredients. The naive holy saintess looks disgusted after hearing this. The old man and stubborn little girl also complain crocodile meat has a heavy, fishy smell. The little girl says she once ate a bite of crocodile meat and vomited for 3 days. The old man adds that crocodile tail has less fishy smell and is chewy. I tell everyone that we should rely on the resources available to us, but we must find a way to develop those resources to their fullest potential. Then I list subsequent plans. Round trip from Crocodile Town to gloomy Crocodile Swamp takes 6 hours. Time cost too high. Need to build an outpost camp near the swamp that can accommodate 200 to 300 people. Simultaneously recruit town's able-bodied youth to form Crocodile Killing Squad, with the old man responsible for high-intensity training. Members not only get hunting bonuses but can also receive monthly living subsidies. They'll be stationed at camp full-time to efficiently execute the crocodile killing decree. The sexy proprietress immediately speaks up to retain me, saying she can arrange carriages to pick me up daily, not wanting me to live directly at the camp, thus reducing contact opportunities. Looking at the dozing surveillance person Shadow Ghost, I flatly refuse. Crocodile Bay Kingdom's political system is unstable with weak judiciary. Without controlling armed forces, earning more money just makes me a chess piece the count can discard any time. Living at the camp allows me to escape the count's sphere of influence in town while rallying townspeople, using the name of forming the Crocodile Killing Squad to build an armed force that completely obeys my commands, making the count the first stepping stone for my rise in this world. 4 days later, the outpost camp near gloomy Crocodile Swamp is initially completed. The able-bodied youth of the Crocodile Killing Squad gather at the open field, eyes full of anticipation and apprehension. I solemnly inform everyone that since they chose to join the Crocodile Killing Squad, they must strictly obey training and management. Then turning to introduce the old man beside me, announcing he'll serve as Crocodile Killing Squad captain to teach crocodile hunting techniques. Without a word, the old man goes straight to practical demonstration, pulling open the blackout cloth behind an iron cage, saying he personally caught an adult thorn armor fierce swamp crocodile at noon to familiarize everyone with its habits before teaching hunting methods. Townspeople cower, amazed at the old man's strength. Someone quietly explains the old man was originally a veteran of Iron Abyss Knights, but just as the old man prepares to open the iron cage, he suddenly slaps his forehead, annoyed, saying he forgot to muzzle the crocodile. The moment the cage door opens, the crocodile opens its mouth wide and lunges fiercely at the old man. Townspeople cry out in fright, all thinking it's over, but I smirk slightly, having already anticipated the old man's plan. The old man calmly reaches out to precisely slap the crocodile's head, smoothly wrapping his arms around the struggling crocodile from behind. He then loudly warns everyone, never straddle the crocodile's back to restrain it unless wearing a full set of crocodile armor or steel protective gear. Otherwise, one crocodile roll can tear leg and hand flesh, even injuring vital points, causing lifelong disability. He tells everyone that if they encounter accidents, as long as they follow his method of hunting crocodiles, there basically won't be danger. The thorn armor fierce swamp crocodile's most vulnerable part is the abdomen, but they'll never easily expose it, just like you wouldn't actively expose vital points when fighting. As soon as the old man finishes speaking, a townsperson can't help but ask, can't penetrate the back, no chance at the abdomen, so should we stab the crocodile's asshole? The old man corrects, saying it's the throat, explaining the crocodile's mouth is the second most vulnerable area after the abdomen, but the townsperson says crocodiles won't actively open their mouths. At this moment, I walk to the crocodile with a special long spear tied with meat chunks. The old man explains, "I'll operate." The old man says, "Just aim the long spear at the crocodile's mouth. The hanging meat chunk will attract the greedy crocodile to open its mouth and bite, taking this opportunity to thrust forcefully. During this, the crocodile will definitely struggle madly. We need to firmly grip the long spear. Just need 5 seconds to subdue the crocodile." Someone raises doubt, saying half a year ago he used a dagger to pierce through a crocodile's lower jaw but still couldn't kill it. Instead was chased for several miles, nearly losing his life. As soon as he finishes speaking, everyone's cries of surprise ring out, only to see the crocodile suddenly go limp on the ground, completely motionless. That person doesn't understand why. Only then does the old man reveal the core of crocodile hunting. It's because of fishy drunk umbrella mushrooms. He introduces that this mushroom growing on decaying wood and shaded sides of stones in gloomy crocodile swamp emits a nauseating fishy smell, but its juice has strong anesthetic effects. Wiping the juice on the spear tip after piercing the crocodile's mouth, even the most ferocious thorn armor fierce swamp crocodile will lose consciousness within 5 seconds. Townspeople suddenly understand, instantly full of energy. This is exactly heavy rewards bring brave men. Plus, I personally participated to stand behind them, using safe and efficient methods to dispel everyone's last concerns. Surely they'll invest in hunting crocodiles to the point of not wanting to return to camp. Sure enough, the crocodile killing squad quickly springs into action, returning with full loads daily, crocodile corpses piling up like mountains at camp. Just as I'm calculating subsequent plans, the old man finds me with a grave expression, saying after investigating he discovered a thorny problem. He informs me that at least 2 fishy drunk umbrella mushrooms juice must be applied to the spear tip to achieve optimal anesthetic effect, and can only be used once, while the number of fishy drunk umbrella mushrooms in gloomy crocodile swamp's outer area is only enough to catch 200 to 400 crocodiles, at most can only make less than 60 complete sets of crocodile armor gear. I immediately propose that if the outer area can't gather enough, penetrate deep into gloomy crocodile swamp. Now we have methods to deal with thorn armor fierce swamp crocodiles, can have the crocodile killing squad hunt crocodiles while gathering. But since the old man said it's thorny, there must be something more troublesome than thorn armor fierce swamp crocodiles in gloomy crocodile swamp. The old man's expression grows heavier, nodding in acknowledgement. He says gloomy crocodile swamp's interior is swamp frogmen's territory, and those swamp frogmen are 100 times more terrifying than thorn armor fierce swamp crocodiles. Inside Moonbone Castle, the count's gaze sharp as a blade, asking in a deep voice if Shadow Ghost found where I hide my wealth. Shadow Ghost lowers her head apologetically, admitting her incompetence. The count thinks to himself that even Shadow Ghost as a dark elf cannot detect it. Shows my money hiding methods are indeed clever. The count orders Shadow Ghost to continue investigating. Certain thousands of gold crocodiles won't vanish into thin air. Shadow Ghost accepts the order, then reports all my recent movements one by one. The count murmurs that not only did I win townspeople support and successfully form the crocodile killing squad, but also gained assistance from someone suspected to be an Iron Abyss Knights veteran. Shadow Ghost adds that the old man is about 70, wearing armor and weapons made from thorn armor fierce swamp crocodile armor, his skills very formidable. The count's brow furrows slightly, full of doubt in his heart. Iron Abyss Knight's service age is strictly limited between 20 to 40 years, and was officially formed less than 10 years ago. How could there be a 70-year-old veteran? Moreover, I was almost killed, yet could sit down drinking with the assassin and quickly won people's hearts. Such methods truly can't be underestimated. Hearing the crocodile killing squad captured over 40 in half a day, and built camp near gloomy crocodile swamp to save time. A cold glint flashes in the count's eyes, saying this person really can't be allowed to live too long. Shadow Ghost quickly dissuades, saying I'm just a powerless merchant with a mind full of making money, no threat to the count, no need to kill. The count's lips curl into a cold arc, asking Shadow Ghost back. Why did she, usually silent and taciturn, speak so many words for me after just 2 days of surveillance? Given time, will she betray him? Shadow Ghost trembles in fright, hastily pledging absolute loyalty, forever loyal to the count. The count snorts coldly, warning her that the dark elf clan is rejected by the world. Only as his weapon in the shadows does she have a place. Shadow Ghost respectfully accepts orders, yet complex ripples arise in her heart. After Shadow Ghost leaves, Mermaid Princess quietly appears, her tone carrying some teasing, saying the count has never been so stern with Shadow Ghost before. Could something special have happened? The count doesn't want to discuss much, instead asking about the crocodile jaw giant teeth dam deployment situation. Mermaid Princess immediately reports the 3rd batch of alchemical explosives have been buried along the dam bottom, just waiting for the 4th batch to arrive. The count sighs lightly, admitting the 4th batch is the last batch. Subsequent procurement must be completed in 3 months. Mermaid Princess looks surprised hearing this, not understanding why such urgency is needed. Only then does the count reveal the truth. Having me earn 100,000 gold crocodiles in 3 months isn't a test, but to use this money to purchase the 4th batch of explosives. Once the purpose is achieved, I no longer need to live. Mermaid Princess suddenly understands, then realizes that the alchemical explosives the count had her bury aren't traps to prevent Crocodile Duke from attacking during rainy season at all, but deadly weapons to destroy Crocodile Jaw Giant Teeth Dam and Iron Abyss Knights. Mermaid Princess's heart tightens, instantly clarifying all threads, suddenly seeing through the count's ambition to dominate Crocodile Bay alone, and the ruthless calculation of using my wealth to pave the way then silencing me after success. The count continues saying this batch, codenamed Absolute Purification Number 4, alchemical explosive, is the Pure Research Society's highest masterpiece. Mermaid Princess knows the first 3 batches of explosives have exhausted the count's existing funds, suggesting not to gamble everything. Going to Golden Island to seek wealth would be safer. The count doesn't think it's necessary. Before power, money is always just an accessory. After he becomes king of Crocodile Bay, going to search won't be late. Bidding farewell to the camp's busyness, I finally can return to Blue Palace. The first thing I do is soak in the warm bath. After living at camp for so many days, I can finally relax properly, simultaneously calming down to think about how to safely contact and negotiate with swamp frogmen. Not long after, the water surface suddenly ripples finely, then suddenly churns, a graceful figure bursting through the water, directly throwing herself into my arms. I instinctively raise my hand to support her soft body. A familiar sweet voice immediately reaches my ear. Mermaid Princess smiles, calling me Lord. I ask in surprise how she got in, but she acts mysterious, saying this is Icefin Mermaid's exclusive little secret that can't be shared. My gaze falls below her. I can't help being curious about her legs. She laughs, coquettishly flying over, showing off her legs are long, white, and slender, telling me to feel them. I turn my head to avoid her approach, saying I didn't drink fire throat, telling her to get to the point. Mermaid Princess restrains some of her seduction, informing me she brought important intelligence about the Count closely related to my life. My heart tightens, gesturing for her to continue. Mermaid Princess smiles coquettishly, proposing to get a reward first. I immediately refuse, reminding her Shadow Ghost might suddenly come in, but she's confident, saying when Shadow Ghost returned to Moonbone Castle to report intelligence, she discovered her leg was seriously injured, won't return to town anytime soon. I'm full of doubt. Shadow Ghost has been following me recently. I never sent her on any combat missions. How could she suddenly be seriously injured? Before I can think further, Mermaid Princess wraps herself around me, saying if I want to hear intelligence must exchange with reward, even learning my tone saying value exchange. I patiently raise my hand to press down her head. With some helplessness and indulgence, bending down to kiss. Mermaid Princess's eyes ripple with cunning smile, lips slightly curling, smoothly turning from guest to host, actively extending her tongue. Mermaid tongues are peculiarly constructed, carrying cool smoothness. That touch lingering and sentimental, instantly making one intoxicated. After the tongue kiss, I immediately urge her to get to the point, saying I don't have so much time to waste. Just then, the bathroom door is suddenly pushed open, the naive holy saintess cheerfully saying she wants to come bathe. My heart startles, saying sorry to Mermaid Princess, then pressing her into the water. Quickly turning my head to the naive holy saintess, saying male-female co-bathing isn't appropriate. But she's already leaped into the bath, splashing water everywhere, not listening to me at all, mouth still bubbling, asking what I just said. I can only change my words, saying nothing, again reminding her to call me Baron from now on. But she stubbornly states she doesn't want to be like everyone else, also mentioning I once promised her she could call me Lord Hero in private. The Mermaid Princess underwater complains with dissatisfaction about being interrupted just at the critical moment. She lies prone at my crotch, looking, quietly leaning closer, lips curling into a playful smile. She looks at little brother sleeping under the covers, gently lifting his covers, then without warning, taking little brother into her mouth. A strong stimulus strikes, my face instantly flushing red. Can't help crying out lowly. The naive holy saintess thinks I'm angry at her. I force composure, lying that I feel the water suddenly got hot. Also compromising, saying when it's just us two in the future, she can call me however she wants. But secretly complaining this mermaid is getting more and more excessive. I secretly reach out trying to push her away, but she tightly holds and teases without letting go. The naive holy saintess looks at my slightly abnormal complexion, hesitating to speak. Finally still speaks her concerns. Recently I've been assigning tasks to Shadow Ghost, Sexy Proprietress, and the old man. Only she as the holy saintess hasn't helped much. Feeling useless, I quickly interrupt her self-negation, sincerely telling her last time I was shot with a crossbow bolt. Without her healing arts, I couldn't have recovered so quickly. Then immediately throwing out an urgent task, having her collect all information related to swamp frogmen. The naive holy saintess is instantly ignited with fighting spirit, excitedly agreeing. I watch her retreating figure, secretly breathing a sigh of relief, after the naive holy saintess walks away. Only then does Mermaid Princess emerge from underwater, face carrying teasing smile. My expression darkens, accusing her of playing too much, but she teases that something passed into her mouth. I no longer entangle with her, urging her to quickly speak the intelligence. Mermaid Princess puts away her joking expression, seriously informing me that the Count having me earn 100,000 gold crocodiles in 3 months isn't a test but the final goal. My heart shocks, quickly asking what he'll use the 100,000 gold crocodiles for. Who knew? She raises her hand in a peace sign, saying the first piece of intelligence is finished. My question belongs to the second piece of intelligence, needs a second value exchange. At that moment, for the first time, I developed strong negative emotions toward the phrase value exchange I've always upheld. After morning bath, I summon everyone to the meeting room. The sexy proprietress is first to object, saying having her and the naive holy saintess penetrate deep into gloomy crocodile swamp to negotiate with swamp frogmen is a fantasy. The old man also quickly dissuades, informing me even the kingdom's regular army doesn't dare easily cross gloomy crocodile swamp, also mentioning that year the Count was able to defeat over 10,000 troops with 3,000 people precisely by luring enemy forces into swamp frogmen territory to win. Shadow Ghost also adds that swamp frogmen are agile, can use simple water magic. Swamp frogmen shamans even master water-earth mixed magic, can create large swamps out of thin air to swallow tens of thousands of people, possessing absolute advantage in swamps. Everyone's reactions are all within my expectations. I pause slightly, throwing out a question, compared to the Count and swamp frogmen, which is more dangerous? As soon as I finish speaking, I add explanation that it's just an example, no offense to the noble Count, especially looking at Shadow Ghost, asking her not to tattle. The sexy proprietress helplessly shakes her head, saying no one dares answer this question. Who knew? Shadow Ghost directly states the Count is much more dangerous than those subhuman natives. I pick up saying since the Count is more dangerous, yet willing to communicate with me and appoint me mayor, the core answer is very simple. I demonstrated the value he most needs. Commercial trade's essence is precisely value exchange. As long as we bring swamp frogmen what they truly need, naturally there's a basis for negotiation and communication. The stubborn little girl curiously asks what value swamp frogmen need. I gesture for the naive holy saintess to take out something. The naive holy saintess takes out a stalk of rice from her bag. The sexy proprietress recognizes at a glance it's swamp rice. The old man shakes his head, saying swamp rice is noble staple food for humans, but for swamp frogmen it's just weeds. Their staple foods are meat and insects. I have everyone lean in to look closely. Everyone cries out in surprise, recognizing what's on the rice stalk as rice bud sticky aphids. I then explain that these insects are the greatest nemesis of Crocodile Bay Kingdom's swamp rice farmers, reproducing extremely fast. Once insect eggs are found, swamp rice within a meter radius must be cut down. Otherwise will spread to the entire rice field, causing complete crop failure. Rice bud sticky aphids that farmers avoid at all costs are top delicacies for swamp frogmen, so we can completely use this to negotiate with swamp frogmen. The sexy proprietress asks if I bought this intelligence with money. I shake my head in denial, stating directly that while money is useful, overuse easily attracts false information. Only by binding intelligence gathering with townspeople's interests can real things be obtained. I had the naive holy saintess spread among townspeople befriending swamp frogmen benefits large-scale crocodile killing, and sure enough, rice farming peasants revealed key clues. They once threw insect-infested rice stalks into the swamp. Unexpectedly encountering swamp frogmen, thought they were dead for sure, but discovered swamp frogmen only cared about madly eating rice stalks, had no time to pay attention to them at all. With rainy season approaching, precisely rice bud sticky aphids egg-laying peak season, I announced purchasing insect-infested swamp rice at 1 copper crocodile per 10 stalks. The old man still isn't reassured, insisting on accompanying me and the naive holy saintess. I politely refuse, saying the crocodile killing squad was just formed and still needs him to stay and lead. Also instructing the sexy proprietress to send thorn armor fierce swamp crocodiles with armor removed to Blue Palace, offering heavy rewards to recruit chefs to develop delicious crocodile meat cuisine. Finally arranging Shadow Ghost to provide mobile support between town and camp. Shadow Ghost immediately objects, saying she must stay by my side for protection. This is the Count's task. I remind her swamp frogmen hold grudges, and her hands are stained with too much swamp frogmen blood. The place where the Count built Moonbone Castle was originally a large swamp frogmen settlement. Back then, the Count launched a massacre against swamp frogmen to occupy it. With Shadow Ghost's strength, she definitely participated. If she comes along and swamp frogmen discover her, it will only make the situation more dangerous. Shadow Ghost snorts coldly, dropping harsh words. If we're killed by swamp frogmen, don't blame her for standing by. I think to myself that the real reason for not letting Shadow Ghost come along is to use swamp frogmen's hatred toward the Count to turn them into leverage against the Count. Since the Count wants to treat me as a discarded piece, I'll use money to completely disintegrate his rule. After distributing tasks, I announce proceeding according to plan, but townspeople discuss the reward for purchasing insect-infested swamp rice. An old man initially overjoyed, thinking 10 stalks of swamp rice can exchange for 1 copper crocodile made a fortune. After seeing clearly it's insect-infested swamp rice, instantly stunned. Someone questions my brain is broken. Healthy swamp rice, even 100 stalks isn't worth 1 copper crocodile, yet paying high price for insect-infested. Someone complains they go out early and return late, preventing pest damage. Don't have so many insect-infested swamp rice at all. Others think the reward is fake. No one would spend this wasted money. The naive holy saintess worriedly informs me everyone is very angry, but I smile knowingly, saying they're just unable to earn this money. Eating not the grapes, saying grapes are sour. What I'm truly worried about is not being able to buy enough insect-infested swamp rice within 3 days. Just then, the lazy bum townspeople mention appears. He pulls a cart of insect-infested swamp rice over. Walking before everyone, he unhurriedly stops the cart, reaching out to lift the coarse cloth covering it, revealing a cart full of insect-covered swamp rice. Everyone cries out, how long has it been since he removed pests? 2 acres of swamp rice almost all infected with pests. But he pays no attention to everyone's accusations, turning to tell soldiers his home still has lots more. He can't pull it all himself, hoping the mayor will send people to help harvest. I breathe a sigh of relief. The pest delicacy gift prepared for swamp frogmen finally doesn't need to worry about shortages. The next morning, I load insect-infested swamp rice onto carts heading to the swamp. Shadow Ghost sees every bundle of swamp rice carefully wrapped in oilcloth, can't help asking why. I tell her it's to waterproof. Swamp rice rots quickly when wet, actually to conveniently store them in my sea of consciousness. The sexy proprietress looks worried, reminding that gloomy crocodile swamp has many dangerous poisonous insects. I gesture for her to relax, already prepared. Then having the naive holy saintess take out 2 sets of clothing to wear. The sexy proprietress marvels at the fine workmanship. Shadow Ghost's expression changes, recognizing this is the dedicated military uniform of the Count's elite swamp ambush squad Red Viper. She says it can't be bought on the market at all, asking how I got it. I smile without answering, only saying it's a trade secret. Thoughts return to 2 days ago when I summoned the tax soldier leader. He panics the moment he sees me, obviously still remembering offending me before. Also fearing my current status, afraid of retaliation. I smile asking him to sit. He trembles and moves to the chair edge, buttocks only touching half a seat, just looking at his hands pressing hard on his knees, knuckles turning white. I gesture for the naive holy saintess to pour tea for him. The tax soldier leader quickly waves his hands declining. I signal with my eyes for him not to be restrained. His Adam's apple rolls, eyes still harboring undisguised fear, quickly flattering that Lord Mayor's tea is the best tea, then carefully holding the cup forward to receive it, still thinking he'll drink poison to end his life. But what pours from the teacup are glittering gold coins. The tax soldier leader is instantly shocked, speechless. I say I heard the grain monitoring squad hasn't received rations for months. The tax soldier leader is extremely surprised hearing this. I think it seems Mermaid Princess's intelligence about the Count buying absolute purification number 4, alchemical explosives with huge funds is true. To raise funds, the Count even withholds subordinate salaries. Such terrible salary management model will definitely be an important reason for his future defeat at my hands. I smile, saying as mayor, letting everyone live well is my duty, then proposing I need the tax soldier leader's help. The tax soldier leader's eyes light up seeing this, immediately kneeling to pledge loyalty, saying from now on he'll follow my lead, but I feign seriousness, rebuking him, saying I only became mayor thanks to the Count's favor. We're both the Count's people. His words put me in an unjust position, also falsely questioning whether he has second thoughts toward the Count. The tax soldier leader is scared witless, quickly explaining it was a slip of the tongue. At this time I pretend to persuade Shadow Ghost not to report to Lord Count. The tax soldier leader is even more frightened, collapsing on the ground, repeatedly begging for mercy. I feign deliberation, looking troubled. The tax soldier leader desperately hugs my legs, begging me to plead for him. The naive holy saintess covers her mouth and snickers beside us. At this moment Shadow Ghost is enjoying the sexy proprietress's massage in the side hall. I laugh coldly in my heart. His one sentence slip has made him lose the opportunity to profit from both sides. From now on he can only become my puppet controlled by money and fear. Seeing the time is ripe, I mention the tax soldier leader was once a Red Viper member, asking him to help get 2 sets of equipment. The tax soldier leader doesn't dare refuse, quickly agreeing. Bidding farewell to the sexy proprietress, Shadow Ghost and others, the naive Holy Saintess and I carry Swamp Rice into gloomy Crocodile Swamp. Reaching a relatively flat place, after performing the contract ceremony, I store most Swamp Rice in my sea of consciousness. Then the naive Holy Saintess and I each carry a small basket on our backs, continuing deeper. We're just about to find a rock to rest briefly. The sky suddenly fills with thick rain clouds. Seeing heavy rain about to fall any moment, I quickly urge the naive Holy Saintess to hurry and set up camp, turning my head only to find her squatting by bushes obsessed with teasing snails, calling several times with no response. Helplessly, I can only take out the Red Viper exclusive waterproof tent stored in my sea of consciousness myself. Just finishing setup, torrential rain pours down. I pull her into the tent, solemnly warning her swamp insects are mostly poisonous, don't touch randomly, but she excitedly agrees, saying finally can start the great adventure of hero and Holy Saintess depending on each other. I watch her naive appearance, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. She chatters, saying splitting night watch duty she'll sleep first out of respect. But outside the tent, quite a few swamp frogmen have already gathered, eyeing our tent hungrily, ready to attack. When I turn back, the naive Holy Saintess has already fallen deeply asleep. I watch her sleep with no sense of crisis. Sighing in my heart, she's as naive as my sister in my memories. Suddenly, a sharp sound pierces through the rain curtain. Something pierces through the tent fabric beside my ear, breaking a small hole. I instantly recall the old man's warning. Swamp frogmen's most common attack method is using their tongues to hold hard objects and shoot them out. Force enough to penetrate human skulls must protect the head. I immediately grab the hat beside me, quickly putting it on myself and the naive Holy Saintess, then yanking down the naive Holy Saintess, pressing her head down hard, making her lie on the ground. She still complains without understanding that she bumped her chin. I lower my voice, telling her swamp frogmen have launched an attack. Outside, swamp frogmen use their long tongues to roll up stones on the ground, storing power in their mouths, tensing their tongue tips, suddenly shooting toward the tent. Stones densely strike the tent, banging loudly, piercing through waterproof fabric, splashing in with rainwater, hitting the ground with crisp sounds. The naive Holy Saintess cries out in pain from flying stones. I protect her while secretly grateful we wore Red Viper military equipment, otherwise already bleeding from head wounds. These swamp frogmen attack directly upon seeing humans. I regret in my heart, if I'd known I should have placed swamp rice outside the tent as a signal. Taking advantage of the attack interval, I decide to gamble, slowly walking out of the tent with the naive Holy Saintess. Darkness densely packed with swamp frogmen figures. Seeing us emerge, their red glowing eyes lock tightly on us. I gesture for the naive Holy Saintess to stay calm, don't make large movements, to avoid being judged by them as hostile. Swamp frogmen close in, making low croaking sounds from their throats, but don't immediately launch attacks. The string in my heart tightens. Success or failure hinges on this moment. I gesture for the naive Holy Saintess to gently place the basket on the ground, having her raise both hands with me to show we're holding no weapons, then slowly backing away, deliberately leaving enough safe distance for them to inspect the basket. The swamp frogmen maintain high vigilance, observing for quite a while, until they discover the rice bud sticky aphids in the basket, immediately swarming forward, wolfing down the insect-infested swamp rice in the basket. Watching their scrambling appearance, I think to myself the intelligence gathered from townspeople is indeed correct. Rice bud sticky aphids are truly irresistible supreme delicacies for swamp frogmen. But just then, an abrupt voice suddenly rings out. The swamp frogmen scrambling for food immediately stop their movements, all dropping the swamp rice in their mouths, then uniformly bowing down toward the same direction. Next, a particularly stout figure with much darker skin color than other swamp frogmen slowly walks out. Looking at this posture, this must be these swamp frogmen's leader. I assume swamp frogmen internally also follow strict social hierarchy, the leader having priority to enjoy food. But unexpectedly, this leader actually kicks the swamp rice in the basket into a mess with one foot. This sudden action makes my heart shock. Immediately after, that leader suddenly emits a sharp croak sound. A tongue shadow shoots straight toward us. The naive Holy Saintess instinctively blocks in front of me, taking this hit head on. I quickly support her, anxiously asking her condition. She shakes her head, saying it just hurts a bit. Fortunately, Red Viper military uniform's defense is strong enough. I'm full of confusion. Could this leader not like rice bud sticky aphids? Why suddenly attack? No time to waste, I quickly have the naive Holy Saintess use Heart of All Things on me. She immediately understands, silently reciting the incantation. Borrowing the exclusive ability of the Holy Saintess of Benevolence, I can cross language barriers to communicate with swamp frogmen. I first clearly express we have no malice, just want to negotiate a deal, and hope to meet their true king. That leader is obviously extremely shocked, unable to believe it can understand human language. It warily demands, "Human, why should I trust you?" I raise the insect-infested swamp rice in my hand, saying I can provide them with large quantities of rice bud sticky aphids. Who knew? It laughs scornfully, saying this lowly food it doesn't care for at all. Then its gaze locks onto the naive Holy Saintess, greedily saying it wants her eyes. As long as I can gouge out the naive Holy Saintess's eyes, it will take me to meet the swamp frogmen's king. My heart sinks, guiding it to change the trade method. But it remains resolute, saying swamp frogmen never joke, also threatening if I don't act, it will make the naive Holy Saintess and me both die here. I still want to negotiate, trying to persuade it, but it gives no chance at all, suddenly extending its thick palm, gripping my neck tightly, coldly saying humans have no right to bargain. The naive Holy Saintess beside is both angry and anxious, angrily rebuking and wanting to resist. I quickly raise my hand to press her shoulder, signaling her to calm down. In front of the swamp frog leader, I say in a deep voice I agree to its demand. Hearing my response, the swamp frog leader indeed releases me. I turn to look at the shocked naive Holy Saintess, saying we must meet the swamp frogmen's king and successfully complete the deal. While speaking, I feign determination, taking out the dagger I carry from my waist. Looking at her reddening eyes, I softly say since she's my Holy Saintess, she must understand my choice at this moment. The naive Holy Saintess's eyes fill with tears, yet still nods in agreement. Surrounding swamp frogmen seeing this all make excited croaking sounds, waiting to watch humans kill each other. The naive Holy Saintess has prepared for the worst psychologically. To achieve the goal, she's willing to sacrifice both eyes. Just then, I suddenly kick the naive holy saintess far away, instantly removing her from the swamp frogmen's encirclement. The swamp frog leader freezes on the spot, completely not understanding my abnormal action, and an irrepressible, chilling, killing intent instantly surges in my heart. Immediately after I suddenly throw an ice palace freezing pearl, the next second the pearl suddenly explodes. Bone-chilling cold sweeps out, swamp frogmen immediately wail and collapse, unable to rise. At this moment, the naive holy saintess covers where she was kicked, looking toward my direction, only then discovering all swamp frogmen were severely injured by ice magic. My eyes are already covered by scarlet killing intent and extreme coldness. My whole body surrounded by bone-chilling cold air, even my gaze becoming ice cold and piercing. The naive holy saintess senses something wrong, anxiously shouting my name. I quickly step forward to hold her tightly, murmuring my sister's name. The naive holy saintess feels my ice-cold body, extremely worried. I tighten my arms. Only one thought in my heart: no one can hurt my sister. Memories flash back without warning to a snowy day 10 years ago. I hold 2 cans of expiring luncheon meat, full of joy thinking I can let my sister eat meat for the next week. This was bought with money I painstakingly saved from picking up recyclables for several days straight, but 2 thuggish little boys suddenly block my way, mocking that I begged for it. I can't help retorting sarcastically. The lead chubby boy gets angry, raising his hand to strike my face, then grabbing snow from the ground, forcefully stuffing it into my mouth, then even pressing me in the snow, punching and kicking. The yellow-haired boy beside takes the opportunity to snatch the cans from my arms. I roar for him to return the cans, but he grins, cheekily opening the can, saying he'll taste it for me. Just taking one bite, he frowns, disdainfully saying it tastes terrible, then spitting out the meat in his mouth. My eyes red, I roar again for him to return the can. He casually says okay, but his hand suddenly swings, throwing the entire can of luncheon meat into the river beside. Accumulated rage instantly breaks through my reason. I madly grab stones from the snow to fight back. One stone precisely hits the chubby boy's forehead. He screams in pain, collapsing on the spot in the snow. I pounce on him, pressing him hard in the snow and beating him badly. Yellow hair is scared pale, repeatedly begging not to hit anymore, but I can't care about him anymore, turning to jump into the ice-cold piercing river to find the can. However, the river water is murky and ice-cold. I fumble in the water for a long time. Bone-chilling cold drills through my pores into my body. I gradually freeze, losing sensation. Not knowing how long passed, when I struggle to open my eyes again, I discover someone is treating me. In a daze, I seem to see my sister. My vision focuses to discover before me is the naive holy saintess. She sees me finally wake, her face unable to hide joy. But I think to myself, didn't expect that ice palace freezing pearl's side effects are so strong. The naive holy saintess curiously asks when I learned such powerful ice magic. I only deflect with the 2 words classified. She pouts, seeming somewhat disappointed. I'm clear in my heart this power wasn't obtained through normal trade, not even counting as a trade. My thoughts can't help returning to that confrontation with Mermaid Princess in the bathroom. At that time, I just experienced several rounds of entanglement, collapsing on the ground exhausted. Mermaid Princess smiles teasingly that I need to strengthen my training. I respond panting that the probability of dying on her is far higher than dying at the Count's hands. But she continues teasing with a smile, saying female mermaids' demand for sexual intensity is over 7 times that of human females. Also making an appointment with me on the spot to come find me once every 10 days. Then handing over 3 epic-level Ice Palace freezing pearls as advance payment. She explains that even for her, using epic-level magic 3 times consecutively has reached her limit. In human magic circles, mages who can master this level of power total less than 200 people, and this level of strength is precisely the core foundation for advancing to magus. She further explains that magi are considered strategic-level weapons in all major forces, enjoying extremely transcendent status. I immediately ask about this Ice Palace freezing pearl's effect duration. She truthfully informs me that since I have no magic essence sac in my body to store ice magic essence, this epic-level power can at most remain in my body for 10 minutes. And when using it, ice magic essence flow will directly impact organs and blood vessels. Only by not using epic-level intensity spells can life-threatening danger be avoided. I secretly estimate its value far exceeds 10,000 gold crocodiles. But she suddenly looks solemn, earnestly begging me, never treat these Ice Palace freezing pearls as ordinary commodities for trade, saying Ice Palace freezing pearls cannot be mass-produced. I thought to myself at the time, the raw materials must be extremely rare and expensive. But the answer I got greatly shocked me. These Ice Palace freezing pearls are actually gestated inside female ice fin mermaids' wombs. Their gestation method similar to human egg formation, and one pearl's gestation cycle lasts 100 to 150 days. And this is also the root cause why their clan was once frantically hunted nearly to extinction. Memories end. The naive holy saintess softly says I was completely unlike my usual self just now. I ask her back what I'm usually like. She says even when I can barely protect myself, I always think about making money, looking like I want money, not life. Also seriously stating that if her eyes can exchange for harmony between swamp frogmen and humans, letting Crocodile Town residents live well, it would be worth it. I look at her pure eyes, solemnly speaking. Only her, I absolutely won't use for trade. Seeing her moved expression, can't help teasing she's too clumsy. Even if someone wanted to buy, couldn't sell for much money. She jumps up angrily to refute. Actually, I saw long ago that Swamp Frog leader had no sincerity from the start. If truly intending to negotiate, after we showed no threat, wouldn't rashly launch attacks. No time to waste, I immediately decide to quickly throw those swamp frogmen corpses into the swamp, erasing all traces. The naive holy saintess hearing disposing of bodies looks shocked. I explain we absolutely can't let other swamp frogmen discover the bodies. Otherwise, not only is negotiation hopeless, we probably can't walk out of gloomy crocodile swamp alive. This matter is too difficult for her, so I plan to handle it alone. But she firmly shakes her head, saying the doctrine of benevolence opposes indiscriminate killing, and I acted to save her, not violating doctrine. If one day I truly violate doctrine, she'll also bear the karmic punishment together, only because she's my sole holy saintess. After that, we quickly exit the tent to clean up corpses. I stare at the dying leader, my heart full of determination. If it hadn't used the naive holy saintess's eyes as a threat, perhaps I'd still spare its life. Now this outcome, it can only blame itself for seeking death. That swamp frogman emits a sinister laugh. It says I'm happy too early. The naive holy saintess blocked that strike for me, and its tongue hides deadly poison. I immediately refute. Red Viper's vine hemp military uniform can't even be cut by swords. A mere tongue absolutely cannot penetrate. Moreover, I've already prepared antidote, but it still laughs sinisterly, leaving words we'll see then dying. I throw the corpse into the swamp, but my heart inexplicably rises with unease. Turning to look, the naive holy saintess is softly giving last rites to those dead swamp frogmen. My heart anxious, quickly running toward her direction, ignoring the naive holy saintess's startled cry. I reach out to peel open her clothes to check the wound. She's both embarrassed and anxious, arguing she's my holy saintess. Can't be so rude. But I have no time to care, only staring at that prominent blue patch on her shoulder. I curse silently. How did this damn toxin invade her body? I suppress anxiety, sternly informing her she's been poisoned with blue poison. Speaking, I immediately take out the antidote I carry from my chest. Not letting her speak, gently pinching her chin and pouring the antidote in. After she drinks all the antidote, I nervously ask if she feels any discomfort. She frowns, complaining her tongue tastes like moldy craft paper mixed with big snot. I cough lightly, only saying it's good if it can detoxify. 15 minutes later, the blue patch on her shoulder visibly shrinks. Seeing the antidote working, I breathe a sigh of relief. The naive holy saintess seeing this smiles, saying a small poison is nothing. She has healing arts, but I'm still worried, telling her to use healing arts again to consolidate. She helplessly smiles, saying I'm too cautious, but still obediently complies. Meanwhile, Crocodile Bay Kingdom's capital, Crocodile Bay City, the royal chief guard mage suddenly dies from blue poison. The tyrannical little king asks the reason with complete impatience. The guard captain bows to report the mage was ordered to purchase a box of adamantine from Golden Empire smugglers. On return, was ambushed by swamp frogmen, poisoned by blue poison swamp frogmen. This toxin currently can only be suppressed by medicine, cannot be completely cured, and once the poison uses magic, will accelerate toxin's spread. Hearing this, the tyrannical little king not only doesn't regret, but angrily curses the mage as useless. Can't even handle filthy, stinking frogs. The guard captain quickly adds explanation. The mage to protect the adamantine from being seized, after poisoning still forcibly activated magic, ultimately dying untreated. The tyrannical little king laughs scornfully, mocking whether he should also award this kind of waste. Just then, the mage's wife rushes in, standing before her husband's corpse sobbing uncontrollably. But the tyrannical little king suddenly smiles evilly. On the surface, feigning a gentle expression to comfort the mage's wife, but his hand inappropriately reaches toward her buttocks. The mage's wife panics and waves her hands in resistance. Seeing she won't comply, the tyrannical little king threatens that by kingdom law, she can't get a cent of the mage's inheritance. But if the mage's parents and brother accidentally die, all inheritance goes to her. Under power and threats coercion, the mage's wife can only tearfully submit, her voice trembling, asking what he wants her to do. The little king immediately shows a perverted and obscene smile, speaking despicable orders, ordering her to kneel beside her husband's corpse, looking at her husband's remains and raising her behind. The guard captain beside can only helplessly close his eyes, acquiescing to this absurd and base scene. Meanwhile, the naive holy saintess and I just finish handling swamp frogmen corpses. I instruct her to carefully check the scene, must clean thoroughly, can't leave any traces. She immediately agrees, turning to start checking. But the next second, her body softens, falling straight down. I instinctively quickly step forward to steadily support her. Her whole body trembles uncontrollably, lips pale, only weakly saying her body inexplicably feels cold. I quickly lift her clothing to check, shocked to see that blue toxin has actually spread throughout her entire body. Both shocked and angry, my heart full of confusion. Clearly the toxin had just subsided, how could it suddenly worsen? I frantically take out backup antidote from my chest, urgently urging her to quickly drink it, but her consciousness gradually blurs. I can only pry open her mouth and forcibly pour it in, before realizing several antidote vials are already emptied. The naive holy saintess says she won't drink anymore, only saying she wants to rest in place, telling me to go alone first to persuade the remaining swamp frogmen, after things are settled then come back for her. Hearing this, I immediately decide to abort negotiations with swamp frogmen, preparing to fire signal flares, having Shadow Ghost and the old man come for support, but she weakly stops me. She murmurs that Crocodile Town residents have been exploited too hard by the Count. As the hero of benevolence, even without her, I must shoulder responsibility, can't give up halfway. I angrily refute. I don't care about any damn hero of benevolence responsibility. I only want to do everything to save her. Before finishing speaking, I suddenly pull the signal flare's fuse. 8 hours earlier at camp, the sexy proprietress suddenly slaps the table and rises. She fears swamp frogmen don't like rice bud sticky aphids, more fears their naturally bloodthirsty nature will be unfavorable to us. The old man seeing this quickly comforts. He knows my behavior style well. Without full preparation, I'd never act rashly. Also mentioning the agreement before departing with me. If encountering danger in gloomy crocodile swamp that can't be handled, I'll fire one firework every 10 minutes. They can follow the firework position to come rescue. The sexy proprietress feels slightly reassured, but the old man changes his tone grave, reminding that the kingdom's climate is changeable, now nearing rainy season. Once heavy rain falls, fireworks will get damp mid-flight and fail, simply unable to explode. The sexy proprietress hearing this, worry weighs heavier on her face, can only pray softly hoping it won't be so coincidental. But reality is exactly this coincidental. But the moment the signal flare is pulled, torrential rain pours down. The firework gets damp and extinguishes. I watch the pouring rain, my heart shrouded by boundless despair. I clench my fists tightly, nails nearly embedding into my palms, suppressing surging panic, bending to carry the unconscious naive holy saintess on my back, using all my strength to run toward outside the swamp, not knowing how long struggling through the mud running, my every step becoming increasingly heavy and difficult. Suddenly my foot slips, my whole person falling heavily in the mud. I endure the soreness throughout my body, propping against the muddy ground, crawling to the naive holy saintess's side, carefully holding her tightly in my arms, trying to use my body temperature to dispel the cold from her body, her breath weak, suddenly asking whose name I call every time I'm unconscious. My throat tightens, lowly telling her it's my sister. We depended on each other since childhood, wandering everywhere. She softly responds, her tone carrying undisguisable envy, saying she's actually an orphan. I watch her eyes gradually losing luster, my heart filled with regret. I call her name incoherently, nearly collapsing, questioning her, why she's giving up so easily. She clearly survived 5 days days without food. Such strong vitality, how can she collapse now? I hate my own greed. For privately trading with swamp frogmen to obtain maximum profit, insisting on bringing only her alone on this risky venture. If I'd brought Shadow Ghost and the old man along back then, these swamp frogmen wouldn't be a threat at all. Now this situation is entirely my fault. I personally killed her. Just then, the second personality appears, his tone frivolous, mocking me for being too pretentious, saying the naive holy saintess is just a substitute somewhat resembling my sister. Originally just my free tool person for obtaining world information. If lost, just find another. Except for my sister, everything else should be tools for making money. Those beautiful virtues are also just means for obtaining money, advising me not to get too into character. I reach out to grip his neck, furiously rebuking him to get lost. I never treated the naive holy saintess as my sister's substitute. Everyone is a unique existence in my heart. The next second, I grief-stricken punch the mud, releasing a long-suppressed heartbroken roar. Just in this desperate moment, an unfamiliar figure suddenly appears from the rain curtain. She has a human body but frog-webbed limbs, showing no attack intention, just quietly standing not far away. Even completely unclear of her identity and stance, a faint hope instantly ignites in my heart. Can't think much, I quickly speak, anxiously explaining to her. We risked our lives entering the swamp, seeking peaceful negotiations to keep this land from war, but we're attacked by swamp frogmen bandits. Now my companion is severely poisoned, begging her to save us. The frog girl looks at the unconscious naive holy saintess, haltingly saying, she can detoxify. My heart delighted, just about to ask for details, but she suddenly turns her head away, her tone firm, directly stating, humans are all bad guys, resolutely refusing to help. I unhesitatingly put down the pack on my back, kneeling on both knees, deeply bowing to the frog girl, sincerely apologizing. I admit humans indeed once harmed swamp frogmen, but not all humans are evil. If both sides remain wrapped in hatred, killing and tragedy will only cycle infinitely. I beg her to give each other a chance, let us become a bridge of communication. As long as she can save the naive holy saintess, any demand I'm willing to agree to. Hearing my words, the frog girl's eyes clearly flash with wavering. I immediately swear on my life I absolutely won't break my word. She falls silent for a moment, suddenly leaning close before me, her nose tip almost touching my forehead. Ice-cold fingertips suddenly pinch my cheeks, commanding without question for me to open my mouth, stick out my tongue. She stares with round eyes, curiously staring at my tongue, gently pinching my tongue tip, pulling hard. While pulling, she bluntly complains, humans' tongues are short and small, not good looking at all. Finally, she suddenly sticks out her own long tongue, the tip still carrying moist luster, proudly saying this kind of tongue is most beautiful. I don't understand her meaning, only seeing her suddenly take out a black long needle with spikes. My heart tightens, asking what she's doing. She explains this is the swamp frog clan's method of binding agreements. Needs both parties' tongues overlapping together, using spirit tongue black pin made from floating marsh black bone flour to pierce through 3 times. Only this way will she believe I truly desire peace. I silently criticize this method is too bloody and barbaric. Can't help asking if there's a cleaner, more hygienic choice. But she refutes. If I don't even dare conclude the contract, where's the sincerity for peace? Also warning if I delay further, toxin spreads throughout the body, even she'll be powerless. To save the naive holy saintess, I grit my teeth and agree. Her lips curl into a faint smile, saying this is more like it. I forcibly suppress discomfort in my heart, slowly overlapping tongues with her. She raises that long needle with spikes, carefully positioning on our overlapping tongues. She softly comforts, telling me not to be afraid, but I see clearly she's even more nervous than me. The first needle falls. Pain almost makes my soul leave my body. 3 spikes consecutively pierce down. The drilling pain makes my vision go black, nearly fainting. After completing the contract, she hands me a wriggling larva, informing this is emerald dew butterfly larva. Its secreted mucus can quickly stop bleeding and pain. If I'm not afraid of pain, can also choose not to use it. I unhesitatingly take it and put it in my mouth, bitter mucus instantly relieving the sharp pain on my tongue tip. Then the frog girl tells me to carry the naive holy saintess and follow her, instructing me not to lose track. Meanwhile, Shadow Ghost tracks my scent to the swamp depths, her high heels stepping, her gaze sharply searching everywhere for my traces, glimpsing several insect-infested swamp rice stalks scattered on the ground. She steps forward to pick them up and sniff, confirming my scent. Suddenly her keen ears twitch slightly, catching nearby movement. Her figure instantly hides into rain curtain and tree shadows, disappearing without trace. Just then, swamp frogmen conversation sounds come from nearby bushes. Vaguely hearing they're anxiously searching for the missing swamp frog leader. Shadow Ghost maintains stealth state, quietly approaching to observe. A smaller swamp frogman panics, reporting they still can't find the leader's whereabouts. As soon as it finishes speaking, a thick, large claw suddenly grabs it up. That swamp frog, far exceeding its kind in size, slowly opens blood-red eyes. Its 5 fingers suddenly tighten, actually directly crushing that small swamp frog to death in its palm. This scene shocks Shadow Ghost, hiding in darkness. She never expected such abnormally huge swamp frogmen hiding in the swamp. Shadow Ghost doesn't dare act rashly, can only continue lurking in darkness, quietly observing changes. At the camp, the sexy proprietress, learning Shadow Ghost went alone to the swamp to rescue me. Jealousy immediately flares, complaining Shadow Ghost became too proactive after becoming my woman, probably wanting to compete for main wife position. Immediately stating she's also going, the old man helplessly shakes his head, can only let her go. The sky grows darker, light increasingly dim, carrying the naive holy saintess on my back, following the frog girl through the swamp for a long time. Just when I'm about to collapse, she finally stops. The frog girl turns to tell me we've arrived, can detoxify soon. I look at the bottomless water before me, completely bewildered. The frog girl says her home is at the bottom of the water, gesturing for me to jump down. I quickly explain humans, unlike swamp frogmen, aren't good at water. Jumping down like this will only drown, but she mocks me as a coward, grabbing my arm. The frog girl directly pulls both the naive holy saintess and me into the ice-cold water. I quickly tightly grasp the naive holy saintess's body, holding my breath following the frog girl swimming to the depths. Just when I can barely hold my breath, my body suddenly passes through a warm invisible barrier. The next second I can actually breathe freely, and the scene before me suddenly opens up. Displayed before me is a clear underwater valley, air fresh, light bright but not glaring. The frog girl turns to glance at me, casually introducing this is her home. As soon as she finishes speaking, a chubby little swamp frogman stumbles over, excitedly hugging the frog girl's leg, but the frog girl looks disgusted, complaining super gross, casually punching it flying. I quickly carry the naive holy saintess on my back, following her continuing inside. Not going far, an exceptionally sturdy frog dad with deep brown skin appears. He sees me, this human intruding, immediately furious, rebuking the frog girl for being too willful, daring to bring humans, this dangerous creature, into the valley. I'm silently wondering why they can fluently speak human language, then hearing frog dad sternly commanding surrounding little swamp frogmen to immediately kill me. Little swamp frogmen immediately bare teeth surrounding me. The frog girl, seeing this, immediately acts, spitting several water bombs from her mouth, instantly blasting, flying, all charging little swamp frogmen. Immediately after, she urgently shouts to frog dad, "Can't kill me." Frog dad puzzled, asking the reason. She says because she concluded 3-eye secret pact with me. I'm secretly delighted. Seems this seemingly unhygienic pact has sacred status within swamp frogmen. With it, frog dad definitely can't harm me, also can't stop me from saving the holy saintess. But unexpectedly, after hearing this, frog dad not only doesn't restrain his fury, but becomes even more enraged. The frog girl, seeing this, quickly gestures for me to stick out my tongue. We together display the mark on our tongue tips after concluding the pact. Frog dad points at her nose, roaring and demanding, angrily rebuking how she dares find a human as husband. I'm instantly stunned in place. Clearly just concluding a peace contract, how did it inexplicably become her husband? The frog girl, seeing the naive holy saintess' breath growing weaker, her tone urgent, begging frog dad to first allow her to save people. She pleads hard, emphasizing we're not bad people, also mentioning frog dad once said he wants swamp frogmen to return to peaceful, tranquil life. Frog dad's expression complex, admitting while he has this wish, as long as Crocodile Bay Kingdom exists one day, this wish cannot be realized. I, seeing this, immediately step forward, actively proposing a deal to frog dad. As long as he lets us pass now to treat the holy saintess, I guarantee within half a year Crocodile Bay Kingdom will completely collapse, also sending the count's head as a bonus. But frog dad's attitude resolute, directly stating even dying he won't trust human words again, much less need human gifts. I already anticipated his reaction, taking out an insect-infested swamp rice from my sea of consciousness and throwing it over. Frog dad instinctively catches it, tasting one bite then can't stop, making satisfied chewing sounds, muttering what long-missed wonderful taste. Little swamp frogman urgently reminds we've already taken the opportunity to slip away. Only then does frog dad come to his senses, angrily rebuking humans use despicable means to scheme against him. I, while bringing the naive holy saintess and frog girl running forward, continuously throwing swamp rice to delay, also teasing him, since saying he doesn't need human gifts, why eating so enthusiastically. Frog dad stubbornly refutes, saying he won't be fooled again. Seeing him pursue relentlessly, I turn to summon massive amounts of insect-infested swamp rice from my sea of consciousness. The overwhelming swamp rice makes frog dad instantly freeze in place. It murmurs that human cunning exceeds his imagination. Taking advantage of frog dad immersed in insect-infested swamp rice delicacy, we finally reach our destination. The frog girl raises her hand, pointing at the giant butterfly chrysalis ahead, informing me this is the Emerald Dew King butterfly chrysalis that can cure blue poison. My heart urgent, asking specific treatment method. Without a word, I start removing the naive holy saintess's clothing, also cutting open the blood vessels in her limbs, then carefully lifting her up, then following the frog girl's guidance, slowly placing the naive holy saintess into the deepest chrysalis fluid. At this time, inside Moonbone Castle, the count is alone, gazing at a yellowed old photograph. In the photo, the young frog girl smiles with curved eyes. The youth standing beside her is clearly him in his youth.